Hey, sports fans, it's world champion handicapper Mike North. Punch this number in your phone right now. If you're driving, pull over. 1-800-808-3419, 1-800-808-3419 for a free pick and info for the premier handicapping site in the country, VegasScoresAndOdds.com. It's the only site you'll ever need with expert handicappers like John Anthony, Denny Macklin, Tony Sacco, Ray Monahan, yours truly, and many more. Check out the homepage of VegasScoresAndOdds.com for a tote board with your buddy. Follow Vegas Scores and Odds on Twitter and dial up 1-800-808-3419. It's 1-800-808-3419, 1-800-808-3419, or go to VegasScoresAndOdds.com.
Some may find the following disturbing. Discretion is advised. Some may find the following disturbing. Discretion is advised.
Last call!
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, I need to announce it's last call at the bar.
Oh, yes.
Last call.
Last call, the Bears Barroom post-game show.
Last call.
We go live.
Last call.
After every Chicago Bears game, we're going to go on immediately after the game.
Call.
I think we all have last call.
Last call.
Let's get it on.
Last call, last call. Last call on the Bears.
Bears have won it.
Game show, win, lose, or draw. It's still last call. Last call, last call.
Last call.
What happened with the Bears? Aldo, Phil, break it down like no one else ever can. Last call, last call.
Bears have won it.
Last call on the Bears.
They go
Barroom's post-game
last to
show,
first,
win, lose, or
and they
draw.
win.
It's still last
NFC
call.
North.
Last call, last call.
Bears have won it.
I need a draft Dr. Phil Rand ASAP.
Fulfilling, making $1 million like Jordan, the ballroom winning extended solutions from the Rican and the Sicilians. Games on the Bears, analyzing what happens. Sometimes the smartest man, hands-free, calls tapping. Last call.
Last call with Aldo and Phil. And sometimes Shane.
Last call of the Chicago Bears.
Jesus, Aldo and Phil after Bears games. Ay, Dios mío.
And let's get it on. Bears have won it.
It's last call on the Bears with your hosts, the Godfather, that silky smooth lover of guards himself, Aldo Gandia, and the man, the myth, the red legend, Draft Dr. Phil Otoshan. Oh yeah, of course. And sometimes, the smartest man at the bar room, Shane Marsaw.
What about maybe cars?
You're listening to the Bears Barroom Radio Network, and this is Last Call on the Bears.
Let's get it on.
Last call. Last call.
Last call.
Last call of the Chicago Bears.
Last call, last call. Last call on the Bears. Barroom's post-game show, win, lose, or draw.
Bears have won it.
Last call, last call. What happened with the Bears?
Last call.
Aldo, Phil, break it down like no one else.
Cheers, Bears fans! This is Last Call, and boy, oh boy, do we have a lot to celebrate. I hope you can hear me. We were having some technical difficulties at the beginning. Phil, nod your head if you hear me okay. All right. I'm glad you can hear me because I've got a lot to say, and I know my man Draft Dr. Phil has a lot to say. The Chicago Bears, the only NFC North team to win this week, and they do it under great adversity. Going into the game, there were a number of injuries to key players, especially on the defense, with Roquan Smith unable to play for personal reasons, and Akeem Hicks having to nurse an injury that kept him out of the game. So this team came together, especially when Mitchell Trubisky was injured early in the game, and all looked lost. Our faith level and Chase Daniel was not very high, but Chase Daniel came in and did the job. And boy, oh boy, this was a huge win for the Chicago Bears 2019 season. Let me welcome in my partner, the world famous Draft Dr. Phil. How are you feeling right about now?
I'm a little worked up. I'm a little sweaty, fired up. I was coaching up the game here with my boy Claudio in the house over here. And, you know, how it started with the news of Roquan Smith being out, you really are like, wow, big game to have, this kid be out, especially when you knew that Minnesota was going to come in and try to attack the Bears defense, especially on the inside, and try to run their inside zone game and outside stretch. And we had seen Nick Kwiatkowski struggle in the preseason, and we're going to get into his performance because the two Knicks, I know we saw Kyle Long's rhymes with Knicks this week, but the two Knicks stepped up and really played a whale of a game, the both of them, led by Kwiatkowski. But, seeing Mitch go down, it's unfortunate because I felt like he was going to have a day today. Like, I really did. This isn't 2020 or anything. I just thought he was going to shut a lot of people up. And then in typical Bears fashion, Aldo, the freak injury with the fumble and the kid going down. Oh, you hate to see it, but we talked about it on 100 Proof. You wanted to see this was going to be a playoff atmosphere. I know our boy Greg Braggs was there. Maybe we can get him on the line later and see what the atmosphere was like, because we were here in Connecticut with the stereo, the surround sound here, and it sounded very loud in critical situations. And really, that defense, it just is something so very special, guys. And it's unfortunate. I think this week, though, will be the week the tape never lies, because Chase came in for Mitch. The hot button Mitch won't have to be the focus, and we can celebrate some of the amazing X's and O's in regards to what you saw. And this is funny, Aldo. Minnesota's the hot team. Minnesota's this. They're going to come in there, run the ball. They're trying to hide their $98 million, $89 million quarterback. And the freaking Bears defense. Roy Robertson, Harris, Nick Williams, Eddie Goldman, and Khalil Mack. Nick Kwiatkowski, Danny Trevathan. It's just unbelievable to watch that defense fly around. Claudio Tournament, I think this might be better than the 06 defense. He's not wrong. I believe it too. It's like, it was unreal to have you're missing Akeem Hicks? Oh, man, we're missing Akeem Hicks. You're going to lose out with that. Nope. Nick Williams, I told Berlissimo yesterday, I go, cut Soul, pick up a defensive lineman, who do you think's going to start? I go, Nick Williams has to start. He's got to start. Well, I think it was 40 minutes later, there was a cut. They brought up the young kid from the practice squad, and Nick Williams gets to start. What did he get? 2 sacks today?
2 sacks.
Nick Williams?
Yes.
2 sacks. This guy's on a roll. Sometimes the foundation has pieces, laid out, and you got to fix it. Sometimes some of these guys that are, unknown to the world fit perfectly in the puzzle aside stellar players. Even today, like Ted Larson looked better. So it made James Daniels look better because Kyle Long sucked so bad. So it made him look better. Now, we can't run the ball inside very well, and we'll get into that. But the reality is these guys, the Bears are a defensive team now. That's what they are. They have this offensive-minded coach, but the defense wins championships.
That is for sure. And this defense is definitely championship caliber. This is the type of defense that can take a mediocre type offense all the way into the playoffs, and with some good fortune all the way into the Super Bowl. And just a couple of quick things. Phil mentioned the tape never lies. And for those of you who are new, I know we've got a lot of new listeners coming in. If you're not aware of the tape never lies, that is a feature that Draft Dr. Phil puts together. It's on YouTube, usually on the middle of the week. Kind of depends on when the NFL releases the All-22. And it's just critically acclaimed because it presents a look at the Chicago Bears offense and defense in a way that you normally don't hear from any of the so-called experts. There's also another feature that Draft Dr. Phil does, and it's called his rant. And every show here on Last Call, we give the microphone, the attention over to Draft Dr. Phil, and he takes it over with what we call Draft Dr. Phil's rant.
I say this again. Defense wins championships. Defense wins championships. You look at this Chicago Bears football team going up against their dreaded rival at home, and it was a playoff type of feel because you needed to win this game. You hadn't been looking pretty on offense. Your defense had been playing soft down the stretch, but you needed to win because everybody in the division lost. And you hoped to continue by beating the Minnesota Vikings at home, where you must win. You got to go out there and win. Great teams step up in adversity. Your starting middle linebacker's out. Your Pro Bowl 5 technique, who is an absolute animal, is out. How is the head coach going to lead these men into battle? How is the defensive coordinator going to game plan to stop Dalvin Cook, to give this team to win? They went out there and they balled out. And I'll tell you, I was one of those guys that didn't believe in number 44. And sometimes it's so great to be wrong. It's so great to be proven wrong when someone says, you know what, F you. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to show the world what I could do. I mean, he took Dalvin Cook, and that's Nick Kwiatkowski, and put him in a place of embarrassment, where that highlight will be shown each and every day throughout the week. And if it's not, it's just bias in the national media. And he drops his ass and gets after the quarterback. And he sacks the quarterback and strips the ball out. He runs down Dalvin Cook and tackles him short of the sticks. Roquan Smith, personal issues. I don't know what that is. I thought the Bears did a terrible job of, and you can be on Shane's side and say, well, it is what it is. We don't know. I think we should know. That's how I am. But at the end of the day, the kicker, number 15, stares down those goalposts and puts it through every time. Every time. It's gotten to the point where I'm a cocky son of a gun when he's lining up. I'm singing the Pinheiro song at Bears Barroom because I just feel confident in him. When I look at this team, I see a head coach on the cusp of finding his identity. The third down plays, they're just mind-boggling sometimes. The need to get the T formation and run the Wildcat is not there. Maybe he knows that 72 can't block his own shadow. Maybe he knows that. Well, if you do, you take him out, despite any kind of money he's being paid. And that's me nitpicking appropriately. Because this team has Super Bowl aspirations. Led by number 52, he's the most dominant force I've ever seen on the Chicago Bears football field since number 34 graced us. Today they did a great job of mirror imaging Richard Dent and Khalil Mack. It was beautiful. The one thing that Khalil Mack has that Richard never did is a motor every play, every down, every single time. This guy sets the tone like no one else. So when your starting quarterback goes out, there's still hope. 31 other teams in the league are going to be up Schitt's Creek, but not in Chicago. I'm so proud of this football team. There's a lot that we could dive into to nitpick. But at the end of the day, just like in Denver, it's like last week. A win is a win is a win. And that is my right.
Well done, Draft Dr. Phil. Another award-winning rant. I love it. And I got to tell people that before the game started, I sent out on Twitter and Facebook the question: the Bears are without Akeem Hicks, Roquan Smith, and Kyle Long. Do you think the Bears still win today? Tell us yes or no, and I'll read some of the best comments on our show Last Call. And that's what I'm going to do now. The very first comment comes from Jim Larison. He had a 2-word response.
Oh, I love that guy.
I love him too, but he doesn't have much confidence in the Bears. He said no chance. Yafimi on Twitter said Kwiatkowski is a liability in coverage. I predict many wide open routes in the middle. That being said, ball control will be key in a close and maybe ugly win. Thomas Ruther says yes, Hicks loss hurts, but Robertson Harris has seemed to shine when called upon. More concerned with Smith being out, but so long as Max Cousins. I like that, Thomas. Nicely put.
Great job.
Yeah, Sox Enthusiast says no, because they aren't that good, especially not without those guys. So that's why he's a Sox fan, because he has no confidence in his team. Joshua Goff says no, Cook is gonna eat our defense, missing 2 defensive tackle starters and their all-pro middle linebacker. Offense has done nothing to show they can make up for the losses on defense. So the majority of these comments were negative, and not a lot of hope that the Bears' depth could come in and do the job. There were a couple of positive ones, like this one on Facebook. Michael Guzman says Chicago Bears will beat the Vikings 24-20, and I'm assuming a relative, David Guzman, follows that up with win or lose, we will support our team, whether it's Mitch or Chase. We have a good group of backup players, and that is what I want to share. We've talked a lot about the depth of this team, and at times we were disappointed with the depth, particularly on the offense. But what this victory today proved is that the depth on the defense is extraordinary. They were dominating, and at times they were dangerous. Kirk Cousins really was facing life or death situations with that pass rush. They were all over him. And Phil, you mentioned that that play that Dalvin Cook was pushed into his quarterback.
Oh my God.
That to me kind of signaled that Dalvin Cook had almost given up on the game. And it might have inspired him to have some good moments a little later. But the way he was just so dominated by Williams on that play just kind of showed me that the Vikings had given up on that game, and it was only because of a tired Bears defense there, because the offense was unable to sustain any well, they did sustain some long drives in the second half, but not as many as you'd like to see. So that's one of the things I want to talk to you about, Draft Dr. Phil. We've got a lot of good things to talk about, but there's also, like you said, a few things that, perhaps we, shouldn't focus too much on and nitpick about. But one of the things that has to be addressed is this rushing game, this running attack. Looking for the stats here, the Bears as a team had 33 rushing attempts. They averaged 2.2 yards per rush. Now, there were a lot of there's a lot of reasons for that, but I'd love your take on why the Bears have yet to get that running game going the way we'd love to see it going.
My father and I were talking about it today. My daughter turned 15, so my parents came up, and it really is, to his point, in watching it, the offensive line coach, I think there's a lot of hype on this guy because I don't see rules being followed, and Leno is just a travesty. I get so amped up and fired up sometimes. I can't help myself. But because I take a lot of pride in the fact that you could be great if you decided that you wanted to. And when I watch these guys fire off the ball, they're standing up high. They don't have any rules. They don't finish any of their blocks. So, of course, they're getting stuffed into the backfield. Now, that's a great defensive line, I'll say. They have a great defensive line. And, they're getting paid as well. But at the end of the day, you got to be able to do things outside East and West to get to the extent of using your talent inside. And you're beating this team's will. You've buried their hearts you've swallowed them whole. Like, you've made them look like little kindergartners, and you're a senior in high school. Their offense was pathetic. To your point, I think Cars or Shane texted me and was like, not only is the Bears defense in Cousins' head, but Dalvin Cook is scared. Mm-hmm. He is. He's getting folded in half. Yep. He's getting hit after hit. The Bears defense sets the tone. This offensive line, if they have pride, again, I put it all on the tape, never lies. There's no nitpicking of plays. I've showed you Kyle Long's pathetic play. I'm going to look at it this week too and see. But I've seen no rules, Aldo. So, and today was the first time in my history of Adam Shaheen where I could say he made some blocks.
He did, yes, he did.
He made some freaking blocks.
Yep.
And number 81 was firing in there and putting his Holtz. J.P. Holtz was putting his face in there, and you're getting a little something out of the tight end position. I think they need to sign a fullback. They need to find themselves a fullback, and I know the bye week's coming up. You're going to go up against the Raiders. You really got to get this ground game going, because if you do, and Mitch is going to be out, we don't know how long Mitch is going to be out. I know Shane sent me a text from Dr. Chow, friend of the bar room, who's come on our show. Apparently, he's guesstimating that there's probably a separation of the left shoulder, not the right throwing shoulder. So that would be something where he could be out for 2-3 weeks and return to the field. That being said, he's guessing based on the footage. It looked really bad.
It really did.
I thought it was maybe a broken collarbone or a broken AC joint up in that left shoulder. If that's the case, you got to wrap it up and see how you could deal with it, because you're still functioning that torque when you're throwing the ball. Your arm is still ripping back if you're, really getting technical. So, because people will be, well, his right shoulder's fine. Go out there. There's still a torque there with that left shoulder. So you got to let it heal and see where you're at. That being said, I know I'm going the long for the short, but really, ultimately, this offensive line needs to come together. They need to find the right pieces. Leno has been pathetic. If I was the coach, Aldo, he would be on the bench. He would. I would send a message. It's not good enough. The fans deserve better. Your quarterback deserves better. I don't care how or what you've ever done. Right now, it's not good enough. So decide to a man. Great. I'm so proud that you can play pass pro. I could find a kid on the street that could do pass pro. I need to see you fire off the ball and play with an attitude adjustment, because he's not. Bobby goes in there off of the freaking vertigo and plays his heart out. At least he plays to the whistle, fires off the football. Rashad Coward comes off the street. You know what, Aldo? It sucked because it was the best block play I've seen since Neil Anderson, with Rashad Coward pulling, blocks the guy. Whitehair's leading up. They got a big play, and Tariq falls down. He trips over Cody Whitehair. Push Cody, keep your balance, and attack up the field. Oh, I hate when you see perfection for once and then it fall and you stumble. So it just seems like rhythmatically they just can't get this running game going, and they're not going. It's what Yurko said last week on 100 Proof. It seems like they got a lot of, guys that lack it in the cojones department in there, and messages are going to have to be sent. So we don't know if this guy, Kerry Heastan, is a used car salesman with the hype, but it ain't showing up on tape. It really isn't.
Yeah, it's to a point now where defenses are just solely focused on the run, and we saw that especially in the third quarter and fourth quarter with the Bears nursing a 16-point lead. The defense just crowded the line of scrimmage, and they were focused on stopping David Montgomery. And it's what are you going to do? Matt Nagy has to call the run. He's got to keep that play clock going, and he was calling some pass plays, high percentage pass plays, but the first downs started to run out as the game went on in the second half, and you just want to. I love your idea of looking for perhaps for a really good blocking fullback, and let's not even think about Mike Burton, not even as a joke, bring up that name. But you definitely need somebody to come in here and assist with the run blocking and help create a rushing attack that is going to be feared, because now you're really going to need one. Now, we're awaiting Matt Nagy. He should be at the podium at any moment, so I might have to interrupt you while you're in the middle of this question. Actually, there he is now, so let's go to him right now.
But it's unfortunate.
Was it dislocated?
I don't know any info on all that.
How much did the game plan change with Chase, if it did at all?
No, we just keep rolling. Zero changed, nothing. And that's the beauty of having a guy like Chase. I mean, this Chase and I, we go way back, and he's like a coach out there, and so he understands. Mitch got hurt. There was zero look. I mean, he was ready. He prepares himself every single day. And it's never different. It's always the same for when this happens, to help his team out. And so we're very, very lucky to have Chase as our backup quarterback.
Matt, you're just constantly optimistic.
Mm-hmm.
So I would imagine that a day when everything seems to be going wrong and you win, is this one of your favorite games you've coached in?
It's I was just asked that earlier. It's definitely for sure top 3, top 4 for me. We just number one, it's a division game at home against a really good football team. That's number one. Here we are 4 games into the season, and you start out 0-1, and there's a little bit of, what's going on. And our guys, though, they just stick together. Everyone cares about each other in this at Hallis Hall. We all care about one another. And, when you have that between coaches and players that trust each other, you get games like this. And so, there are times, man, when things happen and you feel like, man, okay, I'm going to feel sorry for myself. No, that's not how I work, and I hope that it permeates into our building. And I don't know if it does or not.
What did you learn about the team then today through all of this?
Just that it doesn't, for us, what I learned is that they listened to kind of how we talked about positivity and how we talked about having resolve and how we talked about the importance of this game, but they did it. They didn't just, it wasn't one of those deals where they have a good week of practice and then they come out in the game, they lay an egg. They didn't do that. They came out from the very beginning with the help of the fans, by the way, who were awesome, who were out there just like getting that defense going. Again, I can't stress enough how awesome that is to have that. And so you have that. Offensively, to start the game, you lose your quarterback, but then I don't know how many plays it was. It felt like a lot. But there was time of possession that was chewed up, which is complementary to our defense. You play a little field position, you get some points, you play smart, and then you come out with a win. And so the coaches in there and the players in there, they all stuck together, and this is a big one.
How much of a relief is it to sort of have a guy like Allen Robinson who doesn't really miss a beat when the quarterback goes down like that?
Well, that's for Allen. I mean, he had another big catch that was called back, but this guy, he does everything that you ask him to do. You know you can go to him at any point in time. Comes to practice every day, the meetings, everything. He's what you look for in a just an unbelievable teammate and player and somebody you want to coach. So I could go on and on and on about him, and he doesn't say anything. He doesn't even care about any of that, but he certainly is a huge part of us winning.
The Roquan Smith
Yeah.
kind of was a surprise. Can you, in whatever you can explain it?
Yeah, it's. I'm going to leave it. It's completely a personal matter, and I'm just going to completely leave it at that.
Is there anything long-term beyond this week, or was it just...
Why?
Again, I'm going to try to just say, again, it's personal, and I'm just leaving it at that.
Matt, a lot's been made of Chase coming in, cold, but you also had 3 starters missing on defense.
Right.
No drop off at all. What does that say about that defense, and how much of a luxury does it give you then when a guy like Chase does have to come in?
Yeah, the luxury is that again, these guys understand, they prepare, they know that when they're a backup, they still practice and prepare right during the week like they're playing, so that when the time does come that they have to play, they're ready. I mean, we were missing 6 starters today, 3 on offense and 3 on defense, and so again, that's why this win for me selfishly is a good one, and I just. I'm going to enjoy it tonight and appreciate it and think through. I mean, the list of names here: Kwiatkowski, Chase, Nick Williams, Rashard Coward, McManus on special teams, Pat O'Donnell. I have here A-Rob too. I mean, and Khalil goes Floyd. I could go on and on with the defense, but there's a lot of guys. I couldn't even give a game ball today because it wasn't fair to the other backups that came in.
Matt, was Mitchell's shoulder broken, or do you have any?
No, again, I don't know the exact details of it. Other than I should know. I'm hoping I know here in the next 24, 48 hours.
You're a coach. How do you balance the uncertainty surrounding his status with the satisfaction of seeing how well his backup played?
Yeah, I mean, that's why Chase is here. It's exactly why he's here. So we'll prepare for both guys, and we'll know. I'll know more. I mean, again, our game plan is not going to change a whole lot. If Chase is the guy, we're going to do things that Chase does well. We're going to try to do that. If it's Mitch, then we'll continue to keep doing things with him. So I'll never get to a point where I'm frozen because I don't know what to do. We'll just keep growing. We're still not anywhere close to where we want to be offensively, but the arrow's still up. We're getting slowly better, and I'm confident in our guys that we just keep growing in this thing.
So did you make of the rhythm today and the way Chase operated?
Yeah, I thought the rhythm was really good in the first half. The second half, we had several 3-and-outs, and then the fourth quarter was more again of that. This was that game where I'm okay, run, chew up time, play field position. So the fourth quarter to me is you can't, do what you want with that. But the third quarter, I thought we could have been a little bit better in the third quarter, coming out and getting longer drives. We didn't really do that. But I was really happy and pleased with the first half on how we got started.
You talked last week about how that Vikings game here last year was a turning point.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any way to tell what this game means, just the way some of these backups rallied, the fact that it was a divisional home game, the fact that you're coming out in the first quarter of the season?
I don't think again, if it was flipped here and you were a quarter through the season and you were 1-3, you still have to keep grinding every day and you still have to stay positive. There's a lot of football left. But the nice thing is that we're showing right now that it's a totally different year already from last year as far as just who you're playing and then some injuries and things going on. So, I'm going to always go back to the culture of this place. We got good people. We got high character people. We got hard workers. We got people that don't flinch when adversity strikes.
You kind of challenged your offensive line this week. You had a backup in there.
Mm-hmm.
Backup. How did you feel like they responded to it?
I didn't. I got to watch it. I hate judging on not seeing it yet, but my gut felt like that they did a good job stepping up. That's a really, really good front that you're playing there with some linebackers that fly around. I never felt like there's some things that they do on defense that might, with some of this RPO stuff, that again might take away the run, so you're throwing, and then that's fine. But overall, I didn't feel like there was a couple one-on-one battles that were lost, but that's going to happen. But overall, I felt better. I just got to watch it on tape.
How much has Coward even practiced at guard?
Not a whole lot, not a whole lot. But he did some last year. And I think that's a benefit of Rashard, is that he's kind of that swing guy. He can play a lot of different positions. So this kid was playing defensive line 2 years ago.
What are your thoughts specifically on Trubisky, the player? He seemed like he was building towards something, and maybe this was a chance to keep it going, and now that's lost 6 plays in.
Right. Yeah, that part's frustrating because he had a really good week of practice, and every week he's just so excited to get back at it and just really get this thing going. And so it's – it happens early on, and now here he is. He's out, but he's able to. He's out of the game, and now he knows that we got to just see where it's at. And I want the kid to do really well. And how many plays was it? 6. So I'm sure that part's frustrating, but again, he's in there and very supportive of the guys, and we'll just have to see exactly where it's at.
Back out there pretty quick. How was he on the sideline?
He was good. I mean, I didn't see him a whole lot in the second half, but I saw him in there smiling around in the locker room and clubbed up, so that's always a good thing.
You don't have any indication that it would be a season-ending injury?
I don't. I don't have. I'll find out. I don't think so, but I'll find out here. I'm excited. I'm anxious to find out too, as far as what's going on for next week.
Man, how confident were you in going to Eddie consistently today's game?
Yeah, which Eddie? Because we have like 17 Eddies on this team. Panera? Yeah. No, I'm totally confident. I mean, I didn't think it made sense at the end of the game there to kick a field goal and have a potential of anything getting blocked, and so we just ran it on 4th down. But he's in a good place now. The kid's battling through his knee right now, and he's there's no excuse. He's making field. What was he, 3 for 3 today and an extra point? So let's just keep that thing going. It's a good story. We want to keep that good story rolling.
You guys are playing next man up on the defensive line. Had the league's leading rusher today. Held him in check all game long. What can you say about that group and the ability to get guys into those positions?
Yeah, they fought. I mean, anytime you take a team that averages 193 yards in rush yards per game, and you have 40 or 50 yards rushing, and you hold that running back who's a really good running back to that minimal amount of yards, you're doing something right. And those guys, they stepped up. They wanted it. It was a challenge to them. And then again, our coaches put those guys in great positions. So these are the fun ones. They all deserve.
I think it's coming back. Hold on a second. These are the fun ones, he said. Well, we lost the signal, but we certainly heard enough from Matt Nagy to know that he's a happy head coach right now, but also concerned about the injury issues. And I want to also point out that he talked about the time of possession, and the Bears certainly dominated there. They had the ball for 35 minutes and 27 seconds to the Vikings 24 minutes and 33 seconds. And that's even more impressive when you look at the first downs, where the Bears only had 2 more first downs than the Vikings, 17-15. And then the other thing that he talked about that really stuck out to me was the 40 yards rushing that were allowed by this Bears defense on this Minnesota Vikings team that came in as the NFL's #1 leading rushing team. That is just incredible. Particularly when you look at the fact that we were missing so many starters on that defense. What stuck out to you there, Draft Dr. Phil?
They didn't skip a beat with backups. Mm-hmm. I mean, Roy Robertson Harris, to me, is not a backup. I've said it for years now here at Barroom. This kid has to be on the football field. He's a matchup nightmare. And Yurko said he's like just I don't see that. I see a 4-down, 3-down football player that does it all. He fits in. Then you got, Nick Williams stepping in, and he played with his hair on fire the whole game. It was about pride. There was passion from this defense to stop this guy. He said it there. His guys were up to the challenge. They wanted it. They wanted it a hell of a lot more. They bullied the Vikings offensive line. They bullied the NFL narrative about the Vikings and about all those analysts on ESPN that don't watch the tape, picking the Vikings. It's hilarious to me how you can overlook the talent that's flying around the football in Chicago on defense right now. If we get this offense clicking, I'm telling you, it's not hype. I said it coming into the season. This is a Super Bowl caliber talent in regards to this team. The defense alone, if we find a kicker, which we did, this kid is special. Mm-hmm. They did it the right way. I know Man Bun had issues. I didn't. I think they need to do that with offensive tackle. Bring them in. Get some guys in here that want it. Do a circus show of that. Do it for every goddamn position on offense. Get a tight end in here that wants the football running down the seam. I haven't seen it. Where is it? Where's Kelsey going down the seam, getting threatening? I need to see that from Shaheen. Although he did step up and make a block. And the kid, J.P. Holtz, actually took a little dump and lowered his freaking shoulder on somebody.
Yeah, nice play.
It was a great play. But the backup stepping up to me is just about the culture that you've built and about, remember all the, oh my God, we're without Fangio. We're without Fangio. They're not going to be the same. Never once, not Shane, not you, not me, throughout the offseason did we ever say, we said that's a freaking joke. It's a narrative. And here they are. This is, to Claudio's point, I'll give him credit. This defense right here, I know it's early. It's the best I've seen. It's the best. It is unbelievable what they did today with backups. Mm-hmm. Backups. They stuffed them. They got after the quarter. He was uncomfortable every throw. And when they went into their lackadaisical siesta for Dan, and they're playing off coverage, and Cousins running slant. I'm gonna throw it like I'm actually an $89 million quarterback. I'm throwing it hard, and we're just gonna score. Yeah. And I'm like, can you stop playing off? And then he hits the deep ball on 4th and 3. I wanted that freaking Da Vinci picture of defense so bad, and then they let it, but they still stopped him. Yeah. So this is a special game because it was a game within the game, and I don't understand why he can't tell what personal issue did this fucking kid have. Why? Someone died in his family. He heard something. He had an issue. Why can't you just say what it is and move on? Now it becomes a goddamn focus for me. Oh, what was the personal issue? Like, what possibly? But then Nick Quick goes out there, and both Nicks. We're going to have to come up with a nickname. Well, Nick Williams and Quickkowski.
Well, it's funny that you say that because I actually tweeted that out, asking people for a nickname for Nick Williams, and somebody tweeted out, yeah, we need to come up with one for Quit. I will share those nicknames later, but please go ahead with your thought.
Well, both of them to step into the role, but play as dominant the screenplay that Quickkowski does. If you were going to go coach how to defend the screen, that would be the video that I would show. He just deliberately goes there, sees it, splits it, and drops it. There was nothing they could do here. Even Pierre-Louis goes in the game, making tackles, flying to the football. This culture here in Chicago, they mentioned it on the broadcast, Romo, who does a great job. Clinton Dix wanted to be here because of this defense. Have fun, make plays. They were out there balling out in front of Soldier Field. They were electric there. I hope we can get Greg Braggs because I want to know what it was like in that stadium. It looked loud. It looked like the fans were into it. It looks like, no joke, I'm going to freaking pull the audio of Tom Thayer and play it on 100 proof. Because I was there with you at Tampa, and I said this town doesn't know how to have a home field advantage. They don't know how to be winners. They don't know 28-3. They're sitting down enjoying their freaking Diet Cokes and freaking your Chicago beefs. Now all of a sudden, That culture's changing, and Tom Thayer talks about it. Wasn't until last year when this guy, Phil Atosha, comes to town that he was complaining about. Because now everybody's involved in the game, and you know what that makes? A huge difference. That's how championships and dynasties are built, on the basis of having a home field advantage and going out there. And I thought today, of all days, when your starting quarterback goes out, your right guard's out, your backup right guard goes out. He talked about my boy Rashad Coward coming in the game. How much does he practice? Doesn't at all, probably. That's a mistake on the offensive line coach. That's ridiculous. He's the swing guy. He better get reps at guard. He goes in there and balls out. I can't wait to look at the tape of that. But this team is special all over the place. Even Prince Amukamara came in there. The refs cost you an opportunity for a touchdown again. When he strips the ball out. My son called a fumble, for God's sake. He's 5. The ref's blowing the whistle, calling that an incomplete pass. Are you kidding me? Ha picks that up. He might score. Now you're taking away. These refs suck. It seemed like there was an event. It was Bears versus refs and Vikings to begin the game. And then all of a sudden, you can't deny what these guys did today. You can't.
Record number of people in the chat room, lots of good communication. Several people there kind of disagree with you, and personally, I do too, Phil. I don't think right now it's our business about Roquan Smith. It's called the personal matter for a reason. If it's personal, he wants to keep it personal, so perhaps he's asked the team. Now, I do agree that the Bears and Matt Nagy could have done a better job of explaining why they're not revealing the issue.
Right, that's what I mean.
Right.
Exactly.
So they could have said, listen.
Something. It's a family matter.
Exactly. Exactly. Something like that.
That would be, okay, now okay.
Right.
But now personal is the whole thing. He got mono. He was out partying last night. That's personal too. He was drunk coming in. Personal reason.
Yeah.
It's too broad.
Yeah.
And it's 2 hours before the game.
Right.
It's 2 hours.
Yeah. And, Bears fans want as much information as possible. And so the Bears PR department and Matt Nagy and Ryan Pace have to respect that. So they have to word their they have to word things in a way that respects that, not just say it's personal. It's personal. Let's move on. That's not right.
Exactly.
Chase Daniel was at the podium a while ago. I'm going to play a portion of this. It was a total of about 8 minutes that he was at the podium. We'll play 2 or 3 minutes of this.
Okay.
What's up, guys?
Chase, how did you feel? Going through it. What did you do to kind of take what the defense gave you all day?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I've said it before. I've been in the league a long time. Don't want to show my age too much, but out there, when you get your opportunities, you never really know when they're going to come as a backup quarterback. So my mindset's always just be ready. And it was crazy because it felt like Mitch's injury was happening in slow motion. He was literally right across from me, maybe 5 yards. And at first I thought it was a concussion because he tried to get up, down, tried to get up again, fell down. So I'm like, oh man, all right, I'm at least going to have to go in. I'm going to have some time to warm up. I didn't see the defensive holding penalty, so I went over to start throwing, and they're yelling at me, get in. So just try to just stay calm and cool. And I've been in the situation before. The 2 starts last year really helped me just with communication, especially with the offensive line. We're doing a bunch of no huddle stuff, so it felt good. And yeah, I mean, in the second part of your question with the defense, they're really good. I mean, they're really good at all 11 positions. They were playing us in a bunch of too high shell coverage to run the football. And we didn't get away from it. We didn't do exactly what we wanted in the run game, but you got to pick and choose when to take your shots against that defense. I think we were, 31% on third down. Really should have been 43%. I missed 2 easy throws on 3rd and 2. The sprint out to the left, Anthony Miller, and the throw to the running back, David Montgomery. So that put us at 43% against the top defense in the NFL. So it was good. There's some things we got to fix, but overall, thought it was pretty clean.
Chase, you guys are always talking about preparing for this scenario when you have to come in. This ends up being like the whole game. I mean, it's essentially a start. What what are you telling yourself in that moment? Like when you're going in, to calm yourself down, know that you got to process everything, because that ended up being the only touchdown drive of the game.
Yeah, like I said, that goes back to them being the hell of a defense. I mean, they're really good, but yeah, I didn't really have to tell myself to calm down. I was pretty calm. I woke up, I felt good, had my pregame meal. I personally love these 3:00 starts because you get to sleep in a little bit, get into your game book, get into your game plan, review an extra bit.
I liked it.
So I felt great. Mitch felt
I
great.
like it.
And yeah, I mean, I guess you really never know when it's going to happen. So yeah, I wanted to go out there and just act as confident as possible because I felt confident. And I felt confident in the huddle. I've been in with those guys before in the huddle, and I think they felt the confidence from me, and we were able to go out and, for the most part, move the ball. We put some drives together, I think over 32 minutes of time possession, and it worked out in the end.
Was there any anxiety? I mean,
no. I mean, you think I'm lying, but there really wasn't. It just felt like a practice. It felt like I was on scout team playing, and that's maybe I've really worked a lot on my mindset over the past year or so, and I think I still go back to last year. Those two starts with our offensive linemen and getting in the huddle with those guys, that made me feel confident. They made me feel confident. I thought our offensive line played really well.
Would you say you had a good preseason, or how would you describe? Because that's the last time people kind of saw you.
I honestly don't even remember preseason. All I remember is this last game.
Last year when
Sorry, David Hall.
He was on a short week before you're getting that first start.
Yeah.
You think about that at all, or does that help in this moment? Because again, it's kind of just drop of the dime and you're in there.
Life of a backup quarterback, right? I mean, you
totally
really
an
never know.
FU, David.
Yeah, that was a crazy situation. Shortest week ever in NFL history, going from a Sunday night game to a Thursday 11 a.m. start, and we're traveling, so no reps at all, full live reps with our receivers. So I got quite a bit of reps with our receivers during training camp. It felt good. It's early in the year. It's not late in the year like it was. So. Yeah, I mean, listen, I've been in this offense for a long time, and Coach Nagy knows what I like, and we sort of got toward that. We sort of did some no huddle, kept them off balance, off tempo, still ran the football, even though it's a really good run defense. And that was one of those games. It's rough, it's tough, it's rainy, it's a division game, you're at home. You got to be able to pound the rock, especially with the way our defense was playing. I mean, that's one of the most, to me, I've been in the league 11 years, that's one of the most dominant performance I've ever seen of any defense.
Yep.
I mean,
Thank you.
I seriously, they came in wanting to run the football. They got 30 yards rushing, 40 yards rushing, 6 sacks, turnovers, special teams. I mean, it was a whole 3-core game, which was awesome.
The touchdown to Tariq.
Last one.
Touchdown to Tariq. Assuming that that's an option route for him, how smoothly are you in sync with him on that cut?
Yeah, listen, that's one of our staple plays in this entire offense, and that goes back to our Kansas City days. So Reek's probably one of the best in the league at running that. It was an option route. We got the exact coverage we thought we'd get, and it was a great call. It was timely. Everyone did their jobs up front, had a good pocket, and we just, that's something I told myself, just play within the offense. Don't try to be Superman out there against a defense like this. Just do what you're told to do. And I felt like I saw stuff really well the whole game.
This guy is a great interview. I'll tell you that. Somebody who was it? Jesus, I wish I could remember.
He's transparent.
Yeah,
I love it.
I wish I
just
could remember who
and he
said
told
this.
David Hall to go kiss your ass about trying to write a narrative. I know I sucked in the preseason, but today when it mattered, that's what we're focusing on, you asshole. That's what he's basically saying. Only the Chicago media want to write a narrative in that moment.
Yep.
I mean, come on.
Oil Pan Willie said that he loves the fact that Chase Daniel doesn't sound scripted like Mitch does. In his, and I think that's really huge.
He's giving you honesty. That's what makes him a good backup. It's like, holy shit, our defense, that was the best performance I've seen in my 11 years. He's giving you the facts. He's down on himself. He did miss the Miller ball and the Montgomery ball.
Yep.
And how about our guy Wims today? I mean, this guy needs to be on the football field. He saw Mike Furry going crazy on the side, but seriously, this kid needs to be a part of this offense.
Yep.
It's clear. It's clear as day. Now, how you use him in the rotation is up to you, but he needs to be out there with Allen. Allen Robinson is a pro's pro. He is a pro's pro. I mean, that guy is special. They took one away from him. That was ridiculous. but it is what it is. It's unbelievable to watch that guy do his thing at the stem of the route. He's just a tremendous. It's going to be exciting to see how they build with Chase Daniel in this offense moving forward. I'm going to say one thing factually, as I have family in the NFL, and they know, coach knows exactly what the injury is with Mitch Trubisky. Right now, he knows. They're going to do the MRIs, and it's going to verify, but he knows. He even caught himself a little bit when he's going to be out for a while, and he like caught himself and said, we'll see if he's out and how long he'll be out. So obviously we're going to find out probably this week, but you got the London trip. This doesn't time up well. So they're end up going to bring this kid Tyler Bray up, right? That's what they're going to do. And it's unfortunate that we don't have what Shane was talking about in the offseason, bringing in a developmental talent behind, the two quarterbacks. And you know what? I was thinking about this, Aldo, and we have to maybe have our Barflies and Bear fans around the world, because there's thousands of you listening to this either on the podcast or I don't know how many are in the chat room, and a record number of them out in the chat room. But I think you need to go back to the drawing board, and it just was something I was thinking about last week, and having the third quarterback not count against your 53. You have three quarterbacks, because what kind of league are you, what kind of game are you going to get now with Tariq Cohen going in and playing quarterback if something were to happen to Chase Daniel at that point? It's just absolutely ridiculous. They used to do it. Do you remember? The third quarterback didn't count against the 53 or the 47 active. I really think the owners and everybody need to go back to that, because you're trying to put a product that's going to be, worked on. Like, don't punish teams in a league with quarterbacks. A lot of these young passers are stepping up and stories are being written, but at the same time, it's very evident in the game of chess that rule needs to be relooked at.
Yep, totally with you there. I tweeted out during the game that Chase Daniel proved one thing, and that is that preseason reps are vital to get prepared for the season, because he's the guy that looked like he was ready to play from the very first snap, unlike Mitch against Green Bay, where it's taken him a while to get going. Right. And like you said, this was a game where I think a lot of people kind of felt like Mitch was going to finally extend what he did against Washington and have a good game against the Vikings. But unfortunately, that didn't happen. But, and somebody tweeted back at me, well, you guys were really tough on Chase Daniel during preseason, and that is true. We were also tough, but at the same time, we did mention that he was playing with his second and third stringers during the preseason. So there was a caveat to, we were telling it like it is, as we always do here at Bears Barroom. He did not look very good in preseason, but you cannot tell me that his performance today wasn't aided by the fact that he had all that preseason seasoning to his play and came in here really prepared. The other thing about what I want to say about Chase Daniel, and then I got a question for you, Phil, is that this guy's, if he ends up playing the rest of the season, we're not going to have expectations that he's going to be a tier 1 quarterback, but we will have expectations that he could and should do exactly what he did today, which was have command of the offense and work within his limitations, take what the defense is giving him, and execute to a high degree. And so I think that goes without saying. The question that I have for you, that third down pass that he mentioned to Anthony Miller, the snap was to the left of Chase Daniel, and I thought that it may have led to to some unbalanced issues when he threw the pass. And somebody, and I apologize, I forgot who responded to that tweet, saying that because it was a rollout play to the left, that James Daniels put the snap where it needed to be to kind of get the quarterback, Chase Daniel, going to that rollout. What do you think about that? Is that accurate? Because I thought that the snap was poor and may have led to the inaccurate throw to Anthony Miller.
I honestly didn't see it, that it was a bad snap.
Yeah,
but
it was just to
in
his
that
left.
play, it's like a dash route. So a dash pass. So you're going to press that outside and make that defensive end make a choice to come up, or you're going to get out leveraged, which they did. They got the guy open, and it's one of those 3rd and 2. It just wasn't. I mean, he still had the time to gather, square his shoulders, and deliver that ball. He just did not put it on the guy like he should have. It's almost like I didn't see the bad snap. So I will definitely put that play up for you this week in Tape Never Lies, and I will answer to the extent, because if it was, sometimes the tweeter or whoever responding is 100% right. We'll coach it up. I want to throw that snap to his left to give our short quarterback a shot to get outside the tackle and give him a little advantage. And we'll look at it on tape, though. But it's still, I thought he had plenty of time. He was running. He lifted. He squared. I thought he was going to hit that. I was actually shocked. I was so pissed off that he missed it.
Yeah,
but
it was a key play because
I thought they could have scored there.
Yep.
I thought they were going to score. They were hot.
Exactly.
They were feeling each other there, and it was unfortunate because I really, to your point, agree. Again, with the rotation and running, Tariq Cohen starting the game at running back. Some of these personnel decisions I just don't get. Like inside, there was a draw play that was totally blocked great, and Cohen just doesn't hit it. It just baffles my mind, especially when you see this kid churning and running and staying up. He, messed up on 1/3, I think it was a 2nd and short where he had it and he slipped and lost his balance. Still got a yard or 2, but he ended up being short. I think that was the play before they went Wildcat with.
Yeah. Cordero.
That was, oh my God.
That was.
What are we? That was.
Well, somebody asked, can you please explain that play to me and why they would call it? And I told that person, I'm going to ask Draft Dr. Phil because personally, I don't have a clue why they would call it and what it's supposed to do.
Honestly, this is why it doesn't work. You want to know why?
Please.
Tariq Cohen being a lazy ass, selfish. Watch when you're going to run that mesh has to be perfect. If you watch, and I'll put it up, he freaking trots through the mesh and looks back. Like, you need to run as if you're getting the ball. You know that, or you can't think that he's pulling. And what the mesh is where the quarterback, in this case, is Cordero Patterson. I'm trying to say this right because people are getting upset. Cordero Patterson puts it in his belly and they mesh, and that is like riding him into the line to pretend as if he's going to carry the ball. Then you decide based on the read that you're going to pull it and run yourself, pitch it and run, or you're giving it to Cohen. It's up to that quarterback in that situation. Well, Cohen selfishly doesn't disguise. We would teach dip your pad so that linebacker is going to false step. Just take it down and dip your pad so they can't see you. That forces them to stand still or false step. This kid stands straight up, turns around. I'm like, this is a rinky-dink play call, rinky-dink personnel doing it. Like, have some pride. If I'm the running back coach, I'm embarrassing Cohen. Like, I am embarrassing him. Like, you think that's good enough? Then you're not even going to be in the fucking field on that play. It's ridiculous because it's a stupid play call to begin with. Like, why are we getting cute? Line up, put 32 in the backfield by himself, go 2 tight ends, and run it down their freaking throat. Run the inside zone where he has the opportunity to bounce it. Get the first down. Show us that you have some rules, key stand. You come in here with this reputation, and people are going to make excuses this week for him, Al. Oh, he was down to his 3rd guard. What a great job. but it's been inconsistent since Green Bay. They don't know who they're blocking. They don't have any rules. Like, you need to condense the playbook, the run game, and have these rules. And I really believe this run game will work tremendously. That play call, I Facebooked out, whatever we call Facebook. Two things. Leno reminds me of a JV tackle that his father thinks he's great. He should be starting, but he's awful. That's what Leno's giving us. Like, just piss poor on every pass pro, like a door opening up, just getting killed. And then run game, he doesn't do anything. He stands straight up. What league do you stand straight up? Like, what are you coaching there? Like, you have to lower your pads and get into somebody. Watch Bobby Massey. The difference is so easily to see. It's like he has some pride. It's the offense isn't going to work unless this line gets figured out. I'm sorry. It's not. You're going to dink and dunk your way down the field, and then you're going to get a pocket, and you're praying that you're going to, make one big play. Well, it shouldn't be that. This should be an offense that's going down the field, has these weapons, has these dynamic playmakers, and they're making plays and putting people out. They're putting them out. You're up 24-0 against the Vikings. Quit. They're done. You're going to win the division easily if you get this offensive line going, because people have a narrative of Trubisky like you wouldn't believe. But when you look at the tape, it's not an excuse. It all starts up front. You're never going to be consistent. You're always going to be inconsistent if they can't block them up. And I thought Daniels played his best game. So that's a good sign moving forward.
It
James
really is.
Daniels.
Against a formidable opponent, indeed. Big Bears was the one that asked me that initial question, and Big Bears is in the chat room and applauding what you are saying. The gimmick plays are just very, very irritating, and Big Bear says, run it down their throat, exclamation point, multiple times, power T formation, and punch it with 32. That seems to be the prevailing opinion as to what should happen with the Bears running game. And I've got to agree. Now, I want you to talk a little bit about Rashard Coward. Matt Nagy said, that in the post-game conference that he had not seen much action at all at the guard position, and I have to vouch for that. I went to 9 of the 10 open practices and never saw Coward play any other position than right tackle. It seemed like they were trying to groom him so much to be that swing tackle that I even tweeted out back then that, why, if they want him to be the swing tackle, why aren't they putting him in at left tackle to see how
I said it to Shane and Cars. I go, I'm not afraid right now to put Coward. Coward has the personality. You know what Leno has? He's got the fucking bank account. That's the only reason why he's out there, because any person worth their grain of salt in football, like, I take a lot of pride. My father's probably the best offensive line coach ever. Like, he's brilliant. I asked him if he'll come on. He said he would at some point when we call him up, and he'll tell it like it is. He said, I get so frustrated watching the Bears because they got no goddamn rules. They don't even play their best guys. And I was 69. Shane and I were going crazy. Your Nagy talked about it. This was a defensive lineman. We've heard this story before in Chicago with Big Cat Williams switching over there. And he played how many years? 12 years, 14 years on the right side. He's got our guy, also a friend of the show, Rashard Coward, came on here. I have a song for him, for God's sake.
That's right.
Coming on the show from Brooklyn, New York, where my dad happens to be from. So I look at this kid. He moves around, but he's got the mentality, the toughness that he's going to freaking punch somebody in the mouth. Jimbo Covert was like that. All the great ones. Big Cat was like that. Think about these Bear teams, Reuben Brown, Olin Kreutz. You think Olin Kreutz is afraid to punch somebody in the goddamn mouth? No, that's what they need. This whole week was a story about Matt Nagy yelling at Mitch Trubisky, like, shut the fuck up and get fucking ready. And it's a big story. We got to give trophies to everybody. It's PC. Why did you do that? Well, a quarterback needs a kick in the ass, and so does an offensive lineman, and so does every kid in America. Every kid needs it. We all know it. Why are we playing this PC shit? This isn't a PC football team. It's a freaking bloody-your-face defense that's dominant as it could be. Now we need the offense to go. Rashad Coward, to me, is a freaking gem. You found Nick Kwiatkowski, Nick Williams, Roy Robertson Harris. These guys come in, step in, and they play lights out. Maybe the offensive line. The injuries that occurred, you're going to find some gems. Is Alex Barrs brought up this week? Absolutely. Alex Barr. Where's Kyle Long? Jumping on piles last week. Facebook sex scenes and all this other garbage going on. We have drama in the offensive line room. He's not even dressed today. Mike Davis, what's the story there? Is he out for personal reasons too? He wasn't there. You had 2 backs dressed today.
Yeah.
2. So things on offense aren't where they need to be. But the offensive line, Rashad Coward not getting reps inside Aldo at preseason practices, that's on the offensive line coach. That's a travesty that he's going out in the NFL. And the best blocked run play I've seen in years is him pulling. I'll put it up. He pulls and absolutely destroys whatever defensive lineman was coming up. And it was run perfectly. And that's the play Whitehair's running. And granted, Whitehair's got to attack downhill and get after that safety, number 41. And Cohen's got to just be patient with him or push his ass. Instead, Cohen falls to the ground. It would have been a huge play. And those plays are what build confidence. And I really love this kid, Coward. I think he can replace Leno. If you're playing the bet, like Pete Carroll and Bill Belichick, you think Leno's performance, like anybody that's watched the 41 or 44,000 that have watched the tape never lies, they saw it with Leno for 2 weeks, how horrific he was. Then they saw last week it was long. This isn't personal. They're doing it. They're putting that on tape. Charles today, the tape never lies should be just on Leno's performance. We'll just isolate on him. See what you guys think about that. See if that should be, because then it'll change. Because I tell you right now, Hallis Hall knows about tape never lie. And Charles Leno, someone should send it to him, because I know his significant others doing a block party and celebrating all the people hating him on Twitter. But I personally like Charles Leno. I personally do. I do not like what he's putting on tape. And that's where my angst and frustration is. And with a guy like Coward coming in, playing backup right tackle, thrown into the fire at guard, I mean, it's going to be interesting how this plays itself out. But they did perform better. At the end, it really sucks that you can't freaking block a front. It really does. Like, you can't run and get a first down. It sucks.
Let's tune into a little bit about what Mike Zimmer, the head coach of the Vikings, said after the game.
Probably just overpowered some of our guys here and there.
You think?
Perfect drop. Probably.
Do you feel like there were more shots to be taken downfield?
Well, he didn't have much time, so I'm trying to get the ball out of his hand and try and get where we can.
Mike, what happened there at the end of the first half where you take the timeout right before the 2-minute warning with some confusion?
Yeah, it was a bad mistake, so it's my fault. No, I'll take the blame for it.
Somebody in the coaching staff screwed up.
You've brought up the pressure on Cousins. How much do you think that impacted his day overall today?
Well, I assume quite a bit. He didn't look too comfortable.
Oh, my God.
The question was, how much of the pressure you think about it affected Kirk Cousins' day today? I would assume it had quite a bit. Adam Thielen was not happy. Let's see. This is from Ben Gosling, who covers the Vikings. Adam Thielen on the Vikings running game struggling. Quote, I think that's probably the most frustrating thing. We knew that was going to happen at some point. At some point, you're not going to be able to run the ball for 180 yards, even with the best running back in the NFL. You have to be able to make plays. You have to be able to hit the deep balls. You have to do that because otherwise it's too easy for teams to just tee off and rush the quarterback. In this league, you can't be one-dimensional, and it's just too easy to defend. So Thielen there being a bit critical about the Vikings passing a game and not being as respectful of the Bears defense. That's how I read that quote. And what are your thoughts on that, Phil?
Well, Thielen skipping over the fact that remedy was what was getting them to where they were being talked about. You know, they almost won the game in Green Bay. But they were coming in here as a hot team. All the analysts picked them, and the Bears destroyed what their strength was, and that was running the ball and going action game off of it and giving this guy, Kirk Cousins, who has never scared anybody in the bar room ever. We've talked about this. Shane has mentioned it 15, 20 times. Kirk Cousins it's like you're playing the same guy last week. They're the same guys. In fact, I like the kid last week better than him, Case Keenum. They ended up letting Keenum go and paid $89 million for this scrub.
I agree with you.
And you got to be able to, take ownership of that. Thielen's crying over spilt milk right here because he's wanting to be more, make a play, Thielen. Make a play. The balls were being thrown out. He missed the deep ball to Diggs where he beat Fuller, and they hit it later. But the Bears, your offense is not what it was because the Bears took away the 90% of what has helped you become consistent. You're not dropping back and throwing the ball 45, 55 times with Kirk Cousins because the Bears will then tee off on you again. So it sounds like a little baby's crying in Minnesota when it comes to Adam Thielen because that's just ignorance. I think the head coach's tone reminded me of somebody who just, lost a family member.
He did.
He just was probably devastated by what he saw this Bears defense do.
Indeed.
They dominated.
They sure did. Here's Kirk Cousins. I'm sure he doesn't sound any happier.
Just have an edge to us as we prepare for New York. But nothing surprising, until I see the film. I can't really give you any unique insights, but feel free to fire away, whatever you got.
Kirk, how do you keep the frustration from boiling over with Diggs and Thielen when they're not getting the ball?
Just win. If we win, move the ball, play well, whether that's with those two getting the ball or with, running the football, whatever it has to be, whatever we got to do to move the football, let's do that. And I think that's all that matters.
Kirk, that first drive, you overthrow Adam a little bit there. Is that kind of play that you have to hit?
Huge play.
In that situation against a good defense when you have a relatively clean pocket?
Yeah, it's a throw I want back. Yeah, you want to hit that one for sure.
I want to stop that right there because that was a huge play in the game. Early on, Adam Thielen beats Kyle Fuller, who was beaten twice today, badly.
Right.
And if Cousins makes a better throw, makes a throw anywhere within that big catch radius that Thielen has, then all of a sudden, the complexion of the game is a bit different. And the play calling by Nagy might have to be different and so forth. That, to me, if I were to list, the top 5 plays in a game, that would be one of the biggest. And it was not as a result of anything the Bears defense did. It was solely on Kirk Cousins, a terrible throw to an Adam Thielen racing down the right sideline who had beaten Kyle Fuller.
I totally agree with you. Huge miss, but that's par for the course with this quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
It really is. And again, you're looking at a defense that's so dominant that you're trying to thread a needle through a pinhole here and find one play that can. This is how good this defense is. So I don't care if it's Deshaun Watson or Patrick Mahomes coming in here. The Bears defense is the ace card that you hold, and it frustrates because it's led by Mac, but it's not just Mac. It's Roy Robertson Harris. It's players stepping up. It's Danny Trevathan. It's Clinton Dix. It's Eddie Jackson. It's every one of these guys attacking and running to the football. I mean, Buster Screen is out there. That other thing, the refs in regards to Khalil Mack, there are some holding calls that are just, it's a travesty in football, Aldo, that you get a player like this on your football team, and it doesn't become an advantage to you in regards to being officiated fairly. In the last drive, when they score, there's a play early in the drive where Khalil Mack gets absolutely tackled to the ground, and it's not called. And then a couple plays later, they end up calling a holding penalty on a screen. But prior to that, it was like, it's ridiculous, some of the calls that don't get called. It's got to be better in regards to this guy. And the play I wanted to talk about too, that let's not forget, referees helping them down the football field. This ref with the sunglasses on. I mean, this guy, you're in the end zone. The Vikings player headbutts Screen pushes him back. He, instead of separating the guys, it's over. The play's over. Get back to. He throws the flag like he's some sort of freaking tough principal. Like, I'm going to point it at you. And you're going to, come on. After the play, it gave the Vikings a first down. It was chump. It was a chump. The guy's a chump. That was awful. He almost was trying to come in here and overturn when they encroached. Mm-hmm. And you saw Trey Burton jump down. I was swearing at my team. I go, if this dude with the sunglasses, the black dude, comes in here and tries to say Trey Burton, he's saying it. The other guy's like, no, I got the defense jumping offside. So the refs had a feel in this game that was dominant with the Bears. It can't get to the point where they're going to dictate, how the game is going to play when you have an offense that's not hitting and hasn't found their identity. You gotta. I am a guy that argues with people about the refs because I feel like they control the game sometimes. As a coach, I've done it. I've gotten flags for it, and I don't give a shit. I'll go on the football field and get my message across until it changes. You got to call it right. What happened with Khalil Mack twice was disgusting, and it should have been called, and it wasn't, and it ends up being positive yards where it shouldn't be. And that's all. It's not, quit crying. You guys won. No. Every situation, including Shane and I didn't agree. Leonard Floyd, fall on the ball. Don't pick it up. Thank God they got a challenge there, which was great by Nagy and the coaching staff, because that was the stupidest call. The guy never possessed it. And they almost gave a first down with changing, the rule is if the defense then gains possession and then fumbles again, it becomes an automatic first down, which ended up being 3rd and 35 when they got it right. Nagy rightfully challenged the play. But Leonard Floyd picking it up. Don't pick it up. You had a huge sack by Kwiatkowski. Fall on the ball, possess it, unless it's wide open to pick up. You just when there's bodies around, you fall on the ball and make the turnover. I get fired up with that kind of stuff. We're going to pick it up and score. That shouldn't always be the case. You got to know your surroundings. Like, possess the ball for your team. That's number one. If no one's around, sure, pick it up and score.
I want to give a shout out to Harp4803 who shared this in the chat room. Arif Hassan, who was a guest on the Buffon 55 and gave us an excellent preview of where the Vikings are this season. Arif tweeted out that the Vikings have to cover the whole field with Chase Daniel in this game. And Harp says that's kind of and I would agree with Harp's evaluation of that tweet, that it's kind of an indictment of Mitch Trubisky. I want to ask you, Phil, about the play of Chase Daniel, because first of all, I thought he was highly efficient, very accurate, in total command of the offense, making these calls at the line of scrimmage. It was sad that in the second half, the third down efficiency went down from close to 50% to like 10%. And that hurt, but I think that's more of a result of the play calling to try to protect the lead and a lot of extenuating circumstances. I don't find that an indictment on Chase Daniel. I just felt like Chase Daniel had, from a quarterback perspective, the very best game a Bears quarterback has had this season. You with me on there?
Yeah, it's refreshing to know that your backup quarterback comes in there and he's not overthinking. And he's delivering the football. He is not a great athlete by the means of, comp to Mitch Trubisky, but he clearly has command of this offense, and he should. I mean, that's what you sold. That's what Ryan Pace and Matt Nagy sold upon keeping him in the room with the quarterback, getting this guy that knows the offense and the philosophy of it. He was freaking fun to listen to, with his transparency and sleeping late, feeling good. I wasn't stressed. He was being honest. And I think what he felt showcased and showed up on the football field. Now, with a full week or traveling and whatever, preparing to play the Raiders, I want to see what Chase Daniels, does the Chase Daniel show up when he played the New York Giants last year, or does the Chase Daniel show up that played the Lions, or this Chase Daniel that you saw today, clearly leading the team? They're doing the sugar huddle where they're at the line, getting the play call in, and he's communicating it to the team, and everybody's on the same page. I'm certain that the Bears will have a home field advantage in London. I know our boy Greg Braggs will be there, I believe, with Berlissimo.
The great Berlissimo, who, by the way, I have to give a shout out to, because several hours before kickoff, Berlissimo, let me find it here. I think I've got it right here. Yeah, Berlissimo tweeted out, "We have to stop their run. If we can do that and get 10 plus 10 points up, then we can have a fun day. My worry is that we won't stop the run as effectively without Hicks and Nichols as with them. Nick Williams has to ball out today. He's a good player, so he should rise to the occasion." You nailed it there, Bellissimo. Nick Williams did
brilliant.
Indeed.
Yeah. That's exactly what the game plan should be.
Right.
Because that's what you need to do. Stop the fucking run. That's what the Vikings are built on. It doesn't take a genius to go out there philosophically to say you got to go out there and stop the goddamn run. That's what they got to do, and that's what they did. Nick Williams stepped up. You saw Roy Robertson-Harris step up. The man that always gets overlooked, and Eddie Goldman stepped up. But I really believe that kid, 44, set the tone. So if I was to give a game ball, that's who I would have been giving it to, Nick Kwiatkowski, for what he did in the run game, how he's filling his sets, how he's filling the alley. You got to know the scheme. Get to that point. He wasn't tricked. He wasn't fooled. He didn't look like a mismatch where you were taking advantage of him in years past, running shallow crosses. They rotated on third down. They brought Pierre-Louis. Really great, probably the best performance I've ever seen from a defensive coordinator since I've been here watching this team. Chuck Pagano attacking their strengths putting them in uncomfortable situations and using the personnel on defense appropriately. He brought in the second string to give his starters a rest, put it and use them in the right moments. A real big shout out to Coach Pagano, who supposedly was going to come in here and be a weakness. Yes, we saw the second half siesta where they were able to go down, and I wanted to see the shutout so bad, Aldo. But they got that siesta out of their, soft coverage, a running slants, like I said, the $89 million man. And, they put one in there, which is unfortunate just from, a football, I would say, selfish sense on my part. But Coach Pagano, I thought, called, I think, one of the greatest games. I don't think people will appreciate it because it's so early in the season, but this is the kind of stuff you're going to get Akeem back. But hey, Nick Williams comes in again and makes sacks. Now you're comfortable moving forward with this kind of player. Roy Robertson Harris, as you guys know what I feel about him, we have not missed Bilal Nichols, who all of us at Barroom were so sky-high hopes for this kid. Well, Roy Robertson Harris should be getting a call this week, him and his agent. And it should be in the form of an extension. Because this kid, I know Romo talked about him, but he is something special. Because if you can rush from the interior, and you also can rush from the edge, and you're 6'7", 292 pounds, and you run like that, there are not many of those in America, let alone the world. So it's important on this defense to keep a young talent that was undrafted on your roster to continue the continuity. And you're going to be happy, Aldo. Your two second-round picks should be both offensive linemen.
Yes, including a guard, right?
Absolutely, a guard and a tackle. I'm already hoping Danny Shimon and Badge start doing the offensive line reviews, because that's where you're going to have to go with those first two. Forget about. Then you're going to find a tight end. I could find you a fucking tight end. I found you George Kittle if you would have listened.
Yeah.
But here we go. Let's get some offensive linemen to go around what you have in Daniels and Whitehair and Bobby Massey, because I think that's in Rashad Coward and company. We'll see what we got. Alex Bars needs to be brought up this week. Get a fullback in here, not named Burton. Anyone, any fullback. I don't care. Find me a fullback, guys.
Stop playing around with this Bradley Sowell thing. Let him.
Oh my God! What is that?
Yeah, let the guy go get his real estate license, and let's not fuck around with that anymore. All right, we got almost 100 replies on our Twitter channel at Bears Barroom when I asked the question. Let's come up with a nickname for Nick Williams, and we got a lot of good ones. And so, in fact, I need to kind of go over this in detail and highlight the best ones. But here are some of them. Tom says The Gun Show. James O'Neill says Big Swinging Nick. I love that. D-Day says Brick Williams. Tommy Missile says Nick the Big Stick Williams. Jamie Baldwin, Nicky Sticks. And that's a good one because he really stuck it to Kirk Cousins today. Tim Filippiak says Thick Williams. And probably the best one, there's really a lot of nice ones here. Bear Grylls, because he was fashioning those grills on his teeth. That was a pretty awesome.
Yeah, he's got the mouthpiece, right? Gold-plated mouthpiece.
That was pretty awesome. Stephen Hoffman was the guy that said Kwiatkowski does too. He's having a hell of a game, and somebody replied the Polish Nightmare or the defensive pierogi for Kwiatkowski. But the best one, maybe the best response at least, was Clayton reached out to Amy Gonzalez Williams, who is the wife of Nick Williams, and she had 3 suggestions. She said the Hulk, Flex, or Big Nick, and nobody would know better than Mrs. Williams, if indeed he deserves the nickname Big Nick. So
I like that. I
Good.
like Flex. 'Cause
Yeah.
he does every time he makes a sack. He gets up there showing the guns. He gets the gun show out.
Yeah.
I like the Flex.
He's a special player. Now, somebody tweeted out during the course of the game that Nick Williams, actually it was before the game, they were concerned about Nick saying that he isn't very quick and very fast. I think that is not a fair assessment of Nick Williams.
No.
This
guy chased down a few sacks.
Yeah, I thought that was totally unfair to say that about Nick Williams. In fact, people need to listen to Bears Barroom more often. You know, people who are surprised about Roy Robertson Harris and some of the other players that you and Shane and some of the other crew here have pointed out, they should not be surprised at how good these guys are, because you guys have been touting these guys like our guy Coward, Rashawn Coward. You guys have been touting these guys for quite some time now.
Yeah, it's fun to see it come. I mean, we're going to be wrong, too. Like, I was wrong about Kwiatkowski. I'll be the first one to say this was the Kwiatkowski I saw on tape at West Virginia, and I joked maybe it was because he had some steroid stuff or whatever, because he looked twitchy at West Virginia, which I was like, oh, quick Nick, because he would isolate, deliver, he'd fill his assignment, his gap, and he would finish.
But Phil,
there was nobody better in the blitz game than Nick Kwiatkowski. He was so dominant,
right?
And it showed up today.
But Phil, what is Quit's number one weakness? Because I know
pass coverage.
Exactly, and so the Vikings, it's like they never scouted the guy. They didn't exploit his weakness. They didn't have those crossing routes that he would have had to chase down a faster Kyle Rudolph or their running back Dalvin Cooks or any of those guys who would easily get a step on them. They didn't exploit that. In fact, I think there's a huge indictment for the entire scheme that the Vikings offense had today. Not exploiting the deep game more often and not exploiting Nick Kwiatkowski's weaknesses. They just kind of played into the Bears' strengths, including the guys that were backup players.
Did you remember the last preseason game? Nick Kwiatkowski, I did the tape Never Lies on. We were going over our final 53, and I put Nick Kwiatkowski on my final 53 because this is the Nick I know.
Yes.
The one who's not afraid on the blitz, the dead leg, missing. I go, don't say, downgrade him because the back whiffed. Nick made him whiff. He did it again today. The same exact. From your boy Dalvin Cook. Everyone's talking about how great this kid. You think Walter Payton is getting freaking carried backwards into his fucking quarterback like that? No, that was embarrassing. He wanted no part of Kwiatkowski. Kwiatkowski, take the things that your players do well. That's your job. That's why I'm giving a salute to Coach Pagano, and put them in the positions that isolate their strengths. And that's what you get. At the end of the day, that's where the tape never lies. That's where the players rise. That's where no one's a surprise. Look at this. I'm rhyming it all. Because of these guys, Roy Robertson Harris, Nick Williams, Nick Kwiatkowski. When are we getting the dance performance from Eddie Jackson? When's his first turnover coming? It's becoming a party. It's becoming a party. And let me just say this. We can't emphasize this enough. Khalil Mack, thank you, God. Thank you, football gods. I mean, when it comes to rushing the passer and effort and everything involved in the game of football, thank God that the Chicago Bears have the best defensive football player in football. People can say Aaron Donald and all this. This guy is a one-man show. He is the Da Vinci Code. He is the Da Vinci Code. He is the freaking bend and dip and strip the ball and know where it is. He just totally affects every offensive coordinator's game plan. Now, if I could just get him the holding calls he deserves near when you're trying to close it out, and he's burning the offensive tackle and the tight end and the running back that's chipping him. So 4 or 5 guys are hitting him, and one guy decides they're going to rip and tear his jersey down, and the ref's not gonna, it's got to happen in those situations. Now it's 3rd and 23 instead of 2nd and 13 and or 2nd and 7 or whatever it is. That's where this guy, we got to close games out with the pass rush. I thought they did today, and the performance was one of significant beauty when it comes to defensive football. And winning ugly is not an indictment. It is the best possible thing for your football team, because you can't get worse. You can only get better from there. And I think there's a lot of things that Coach Nagy's going to come away with. Now, if he decides to stop the gimmick show, we all know the gimmicky stuff, I wish just throw it out. Just throw it out for one game. Just give me 60 minutes of football played the right way. I think this football team is going to be special. I really do. And that was a must-win game. Must win, and you did it. Now you're going to be traveling across the pond over with Sandy Tom over there, and you're going to see what they do against the Oakland Raiders, where you got a chance to go into the bye week 4-1.
Oil Pan Willie asked the question, didn't Pierre Lewis have a good game too? Now I saw him out on the field, but I didn't. It didn't register to me the quality of his play today. Why don't you talk about that?
Well, to the guy's point, it was one of the things I saw when it came to Nick Kwiatkowski's weakness. Pierre Lewis, that's his strength. They're running crossing patterns at the end of the game, and he's just flying to the football and tracking it and burying it. So Dalvin Cook with the football, he runs him down. Thielen's coming on a shallow cross. He runs him down, tackles him short of the sticks. He's in the right place. He even made a great play against the screen. There was a screen play, and he made the great play. I mean, obviously, Kwiatkowski made the big splash plays because of the sack turnover, but this guy came to play too. It was to the point where I texted Shane and Cars. I'm like, is Danny Trevathan hurt? Because I didn't see him in the second half almost. It was like Pierre Louis would come in and replace Trevathan with Kwiatkowski was on the football field together. And they both did a tremendous job. One of the more underrated signings. Me and Shane were very high. If you were listening to Bears Bar Room this summer on Pierre Louis, as I call him, and sure enough, he goes out there showing that he's much more than just a good special teams football player, who, by the way, special teams-wise, Pat O'Donnell, tip of the hat to you as well. I wanted to see, I said, here we go. We got stopped. They couldn't run the ball out. They can't run the freaking clock out for us and just get out. Now Pat needs to make a good punt. This is where he shanks it. He freaking buries it. Claudio said, there it is. You got what you wanted. I go, damn right. And then Sherrick McManus, who's been a healthy scratch the first 3 weeks, comes down, isolated, makes a great open field tackle. And the special teams continue to shine for the Chicago Bears going forward. One of the more underrated things going on in this offense and this football team is the special teams, Pinheiro and O'Donnell.
Mm-hmm. Without a doubt. I want to touch on quickly about the fact that the NFC North teams all lost today. But I want to give a special shout out to the Detroit Lions, who played much better against the highly powered Kansas City Chiefs than I anticipated. I thought the Chiefs would go into the Silver Dome, and it's called the Silver Dome. No, it's called, what the hell is it called now? Ford Field.
Ford Field.
Yeah, there you go. And so, but they did a great job of basically shutting down Patrick Mahomes, at least, from a touchdown perspective. He threw for 315 yards, but he had no touchdowns. Wasn't sacked, but nonetheless, KC was able to come up with 34 huge points, and the Lions were kept it close, 34-30, and Matthew Stafford fumbled in the end zone, and that could have been the play that really prevented them from winning that game. But my point here is that the Lions at 2-1-1 this season have played much better than I anticipated them playing. With a quarter of the season done, they have shown me that they're not one of the worst teams in the NFL, which is what I predicted at the beginning of the season, and that they are a team that we have to take very seriously, particularly because NFC North teams, when you're playing an intra-divisional team, those are very, very tough games to win. Then the Green Bay Packers, the Packers, I think, showed who they are. They're an overrated defense. Not to say that it's a bad defense, but through first 3 weeks of the season, people were talking about how great this defense is and blah, blah, blah. Well, they didn't look so great on Thursday night, did they?
Yeah, I saw that tweet. Shane sent it to me. And we got a great defense, and then they kept editing missed tackle, touchdown, another touchdown. Jordan Howard show.
Yeah, your man Jordan Howard. Green Bay Packers gave up 34 points. And how many yards did Jordan Howard have in that game? Let me call that up here real quickly. Howard rushed.
He had 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, 2 touchdowns rushing and 1 touchdown receiving, which is the ultimate.
Wait, he can't catch.
That's right.
Makes a great catch, runs over somebody, and goes in.
The ultimate kicking the balls to Matt Nagy, because you know what? It is true that Jordan Howard had problems one season catching the ball. He made some really serious drops, but after in last year, Nagy challenged him, and he caught the ball fantastically last year. Every pass. And it just seemed to me that getting rid of Jordan Howard, I'm not saying we should not have drafted David Montgomery, but it seemed to me like getting rid of Jordan Howard when he's still on his rookie contract, it was only making $2 million a year, was just a waste. Now, you got a 5th-round draft pick in return. Who knows what you're going to end up with there. But Howard for the Eagles had 3 catches for 28 yards, and he had 87 yards rushing on just 15 carries, a total of 3 touchdowns. But my original point is that the Packers defense was exposed, and that's good news for the Bears going on. Who the Packers play next week? Let me see if I can call that up. Because it would be nice for them to get it. Oh, yeah, they're at Dallas. Go, Dallas, go. Dallas right now, we are live on Mixler.com at 8:15 p.m. Central, and Dallas is losing to New Orleans at the Dome 6-3, but nonetheless, the Cowboys are a good team, and I don't think they'll have any problem dispatching of the Packers next week. But don't take my word on it. I'm pretty terrible with predictions lately. Phil, what are your expectations out of both of these teams, the Lions and the Packers, moving forward?
Well, I think the Lions lion. So that always happens. I know you're giving them credit, and yeah, you play at home, you want to win, but you lose when the chips are all down in the final seconds. You end up losing, which is lioning. It's an adjective now. So I don't have any faith in the Lions. They're always at home putting up numbers or whatever. If you win that game, you should have won that game. Mm-hmm. You lost the game. That's them. The Packers, to me, they always got a hope with this guy at quarterback. I hate him, but he's highly talented. He's a competitive guy, and he's tremendously accurate with the football when he needs to be, but we're seeing a mental lapse in him. If that was Mitch Trubisky throwing that pick at the goal line with the open guy over the top there, it would be hellfire in Chicago. It would be burning down again. But you every time that's a rivalry game. I really think the Bears are kicking themselves in the way they ran their offense that night against that team.
Yep.
And the 2 breakdowns in otherwise a perfect game. They did what they did to Cousins to Rodgers. They frustrated the hell out of him. He just wasn't accurate. He got the touchdown ball, not to go back to Graham, was just a throw up in the air. Let's see if he could beat, Deion Bush, a mismatch. And sure enough, he came away. And that's how, sometimes it's drawn up in the dirt and you win like that. But those two teams, I really believe the Bears, I've said it, prior to the season, I believe it. I think today was an exclamation point on it, to be reckoned with. I know the narrative will be about the offense for the entire week leading up to the Raiders, and the Bears probably won't get a lot of credit because of what they're lacking on offense. What about the running game? What about Chase Daniels at the back? How long Mitch is going to be out? That's the focus this week. But for you guys in the underground, I call you the Wu-Tang Clan, the Barflies. You'll know from Bears Bar Room and, educated analysts that talk football, that watch the tape and come from a realist. I'm not ball washing anybody. I'm going to call out Chase. I'm going to call out David Montgomery. I'm going to call out Charles Leno, everybody, Khalil Mack, whatever. Performance speaks. Then the truth will come. And that's what we will do. And that's why The Tape Never Lies is highly acclaimed, to your point, Aldo, because I'm giving you the whole picture, not an excuse. I know there's 12 haters out there. Oh, you're so nice to Mitch. And no, I'm giving you the picture so you can actually have a real live view of what transpires in the pocket, in the play call, in the assignment missed, and why it doesn't work. And until it's perfect, until the offensive line improves, it's not going to be good. Just like today, you had the best performance by a defense in a long, long time, and you got 16 points. Right?
Mm-hmm.
16. That's it. So the offensive guru isn't doing his job for shit. Playmakers aren't making plays, and you're not scoring touchdowns. Because if you go out there and you beat someone 48-3, which you could have, because you were totally dominant on every fucking level. Front four, middle linebackers, back end was dominant. And you didn't score enough. So now the narratives are going to be, we got to build off of this. This offensive line needs to find the right personnel in there. If Kyle Long's hurt from August and he's playing, that's an indictment on the offensive line coach. He shouldn't be out there then, because what he put on tape was horrific. If Charles Leno got paid and is distracted by his relationship or anything else that's not X's and O's and performance, that's an indictment on the offensive line coach. At some point, Matt Nagy came out last week, Aldo. He was going to be my bear down. But he did something. He called out the offensive line. Now the injuries occurred. Now you're going up against the Raiders.
The Raiders. And
now let's see what you're going to do this week.
Lots and lots of great comments in the chat room. We had almost 200 people at our peak in the chat room. We've got slightly less than half of that now as we approach the 2-hour mark of Last Call, which you can find live on Mixlr.com, MIXLR.com. After every game, immediately after the game, we go live and Draft Dr. Phil provides his analysis. And one of the things I have to do a better job of is engage the people in the chat room and share some of the thoughts being posted there. Yeah. For instance, Big Bears says, we will go into the bye the top of the division, and totally with you on there. Oil Pan Willie has been very busy in the chat room with lots of great comments and questions. He's got a question for you, Phil. Do you think that Akeem Hicks' knee problems could be the extra stress from him being overweight? That's what he thinks. Yes. What do you think?
I said this. Great job, Oil Pan. I said it a few shows ago. I was concerned about his weight. Aldo pointed out he was like that before, but was concerned too. But I felt like there was just something different here. And if you do get an injury and you're out of football shape and they don't do reps, you don't get those live reps. I'm serious. It's not a joke for Jeff Dickerson. If you're not playing in the preseason, getting that, guard and tackle hitting you as they're trying to double team and wham you, and you're rushing the passer using all of your explosive burst, your glute muscles, all of it, your Achilles, everything is enforced. Like, it's like no other sport. We get into arguments with soccer people all day. Oh, soccer players are the best athletes in the world. They might be the highest paid, but they're not. I mean, you don't understand. Well, you guys stop running all the time. Because they're in a war, in a small window war for 4, 5, 6 seconds at a time, running and bursting and getting punched and slapped and pinched and punched in the privates, everything you could think of. So the game shape is needed. It's not hindsight 2020 at Barroom. We were all universally concerned, including Greggy Sunshine from Chai fans in the stands. He was concerned. And clearly, some of these players didn't come into shape. And I personally agree that I think that was a part of it. I thought he was going to play today and then be put off next week and then carry through the bye. But now, look what they did without him. Look what they did without him. He certainly was a big cheerleader on television.
Yeah, he was. As you would expect.
I'm like, why is he? Sit down. Why is he
exactly
worried about his knee?
Don't aggravate that knee. Lady Bear 83 says Nagy didn't really know how to use Howard, which he's not doing a good job with Montgomery. So that's a great point by Lady Bear. It seems like Matt Nagy's biggest weakness as an offensive coach is that he just doesn't know how to use these great backs that he's been given. For instance, Kareem Hunt when he was at Kansas City, and totally forgot about Kareem in the playoff game. Right. Jordan Howard, who's now, showing that he still has a lot of juice left on that tank and can do the things that the Bears offense, that Andy Reid type offense that the Eagles, the Chiefs, and the Bears employ. He can do that really well. And now Montgomery is not being used to his fullest extent, although some of the blame does go to the Bears offensive line, but nonetheless, I'm with you there, Lady Bear, that Nagy needs to do a better job of employing the weapons that he has, and as Phil has said, perhaps his number one weapon that he has on this team is David Montgomery, and when we go to London next week, David Montgomery has to be used in full force in order to come out of there with a victory and be 4-1 after 5 games going into the bye. This week, this upcoming game, Phil, is huge. To go to London, win, go 4-1, get a bye, then face a Saints team at Soldier Field without Drew Brees, that can get you to 6-1, and then another consecutive home game against the San Diego Chargers. You beat them, and then all of a sudden, you're looking really, really good before you go to Philadelphia to play the Eagles.
Absolutely. Continue one game at a time, but you got to beat the Raiders. You got to find the run game. I want to see some more toss plays. Get the ball in Montgomery's hand. Give him a toss play. Let them get on bodies and let him read it. I wish they would have done that down the stretch there. I missed one play. Family situation, personal reasons. Personal reasons. Down that as they were trying to run out the clock, I go, what did they do, Claudia? Oh, they got stopped. So they're punting again. So I missed one. Maybe it was a toss, but I want to see the toss play to Montgomery, allow them to get bodies and let him be the natural runner he is. Stop with this Tariq Cohen nonsense and the gimmick stuff. Get the 2 tight ends out there. Get Alex Bars up from the practice squad this week. Make some moves here to get this running game going. Take some pride. Condense the playbook if it needs to be, but you got to get it going, because I think Chase will be, even better and more, secure with a run game. But to her point, Matt Nagy always finds a way to throw the ball. He just doesn't. And that's my big issue. Situational football escapes him sometimes. He did a great job challenging the Floyd situation on the field where the refs messed up, and he challenged the fumble with Prince Amukamara. So I got to give him credit there. Those were clear calls. In years past, John Fox probably would have won. The play would have stood. We'll be talking about it on Monday. That should have been challenged, and it wasn't. We can't overlook that. So, see, fans, I can praise Matt Nagy. I'm doing it right there.
And yes, you have given a lot of love to Matt Nagy, but you've also kept it 100, so we appreciate that. Sandman has been very active in the chat room, and I wanted to get this one in here. It is. Did anyone see Roy Robertson Harris do the people's elbow on the field? Freaking classic. Now, I missed that. Do you know what he's talking about, Phil? The people. I
think he's doing a wrestling move.
Oh, Sandman is into the WWF or whatever the fuck
I
that's
think he's
called.
doing a wrestling move. The people's elbow, I'm not up on, but
me neither.
Doesn't Hulk Hogan do that when he points to the elbow like he's gonna do the drop the elbow on it or something? I'm guessing because
no, I think you're right. I think that's a
my
damn
boy
good
Adam
guess.
Rank loves the wrestling. He'd have the answer, but I don't.
Yeah.
Maybe am I right there?
Well, Sandman says it's The Rock.
The Rock
does that move.
Can you smell?
Yeah, I don't watch rock movies that much. I watch romantic comedies. No, I'm just
I
fucking.
want to watch The Rock's new movie when it's not new, but it's out, I guess, where, there's always like the world is ending, earthquake, rampage.
Yes.
He's saving the world, this guy, hanging from a building. I got to see it.
Fucking Rock, man, has done such a phenomenal job of going from one of the greatest wrestlers of all time to now being a motion picture, a worldwide global phenomenon. As you got a movie with The Rock. I don't care what the topic is. It's going to be a great effing movie. From one of those catastrophic, the world is going to end, apocalyptic movies to a comedy with Kevin Hart or whoever or whatever it is. It's going to be a great movie. In fact, I saw a really great movie that I just haven't
seen. Step Brothers, by the way.
No, I have not. I've been getting a lot of shit that I've not seen Step Brothers.
I've been giving it to you.
I've been trying to find that movie. I'm going to try to watch it this week before 100 Proof so I can talk about it with you. But there was a movie with The Rock where he plays a guy who runs a trucking company and his son gets involved. He's arrested. Anybody know the title of this movie?
Yeah, I remember. I never saw it. It's almost like a Liam Neeson.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I'm telling you, Simon, I think is calling me an idiot. Well, I'm telling you, this really opened my eyes to just what a depth that The Rock has as an actor, because this was not necessarily an action movie. Yeah, there was action in it, but it was not one of his typical action movies. This was more about a guy showing his ability to act as a concerned parent and doing whatever he can to help his son. I thought it was phenomenal, and The Rock is a hell of a guy. Big Bear says, that's fucked up, Aldo. Step Brothers is a classic. Yes, I know. People have been telling me all week since one of the last 100
Proof. Your homework assignment, Aldo. Bears got to win now.
No, it's not Walking Tall. I'll tell you in a second, Sam, man, the movie that I'm referring to. But go ahead, Phil, while I search for the title of this movie.
Bottom line here is the Chicago Bears got a big W tonight. It was a playoff atmosphere. I'm sorry. I tried to text Braggs. He never answered.
Yeah, same here. He's not answered on my end either.
So he's probably... 6 Jack Daniels, 16 Jack Daniels in, celebrating the victory.
I hope he hasn't been vaping.
He might be in Club Dub for some reason.
Knowing him, he would find a way in there.
If anyone would find a way, it would be him. Trust me, I've been around this guy. I'm like, I pride myself on knowing people by face and getting in and talking my way in, but this dude, I said to my wife, is better than I am. She's always like, how the hell did you get in there? This guy will talk his way in. But anyway.
I hope he got a lot of pussy when he was younger, before he was married, the way he can talk his way into getting into anything. By the way, the name of that movie was Snitch, and thank you, Oil Pan Willie. That is the name of the movie, and I highly recommend it to anybody, whether you're a rock fan or not. It's just a damn good movie. Go ahead, Phil.
He was good in Jumanji.
Oh my gosh.
The Jumanji remake. I couldn't believe it. I watched it with my sons. I'm like, hey, The Rock is actually pretty good.
He is. He's
entertaining.
Very.
I like things that entertain me, and he does. But playoff atmosphere, come away with a victory. Now we got this quarterback situation. I think he's going to be out for a few weeks. We will see. There's no update on it yet. The coach is not giving you anything, so we'll see. I want to see where Roquan and Hakeem. I think you rest Hakeem another week again, and then you get the bye week. So essentially, you got 4 weeks there until he's got to play, and then you move forward here with a team on the rise, on the cusp. I really think they lost the first game last year, and it's kind of repeating itself here again, and you really like to see how things, but you can't have that letdown game. Traveling and all of that is really going to be important in how this game, sets itself up. Is it a 1 o'clock game? Because sometimes they used to play at 9 in the morning.
Right, that's a good question. Let me look for that. I hope it's not 9 o'clock in the morning, because
I know that's
no, it's a 12 p.m. game. So in Central Time, so it's 1 o'clock your time. Correct.
So 1 o'clock game. Be interesting to see how these guys prepare themselves, because there obviously it's going to be like 6. So for the Bears themselves, it's going to be another late game. So Chase will be able to have his breakfast, and he'll feel great, hopefully, going into play the Raiders. It's going to be fun. I appreciate all of you guys shouting out Bears Barroom and what we're doing with the Tape Never Lies. I will get that out. And just for the footnote, that explanation, Game Pass, for some reason, only gave us 46 minutes.
Yeah, what the hell was that
game
about?
Last week. They're always constantly something with the fucking Bears game. I get so fired up with it. I shouted out Bearlissimo because I asked him for a few plays in the second half that I knew needed to be in from my memory, that needed to be in with the All-22, and he cut them up and sent them to me from across the pond where they got the whole game. Shane said he emailed Game Pass and the NFL. There's no phone center. There's no one to talk to. It's just regurgitated answers when you ask them. So it's almost like people are paying for a product and not getting a service that they're advertising. It's frustrating because I want to get it. It takes a while to pick out the plays, cut them up, do what I need to do prior to narrating and explaining them. Because the way I do it is I imagine you are my players, and I am up at the board going over the play and our assignments so you could see it. And that's the way I bring it to you. And the music and everything is just me. So those of you who don't want the music, go to another channel. Go find someone else that will do it, because this is significant to me. There's always a fucking critic, Aldo.
I know. There is.
My God.
I got a bunch of critics right now in the chat room telling me, what the fuck is wrong with you? Never seen Step Brothers. You're full of shit.
I got a lot of texts about that, too. Not going to lie. From Barstool. I can't believe he hasn't seen Step Brothers. Is he serious?
Hey, have you seen Ingmar Bergman's The Seventh Seal? That's the kind of art movies. That's what I watch. No, I'm just kidding. All right. I want to let everybody know, because we still have like dozens of people. There's 65 listeners in the chat room right now.
I love them.
And the only reason people are leaving is because I've been kind of signaling that we were going to close the show, but we could stay here all night. But I got shit to do. It's Sunday night. Got family. And
love you guys.
Let me assure you that this show will be up on our podcast stream very, very soon. And I'd love for all of you people who have come in here live to share the link with others so that they know what we're doing after every Bears game, and that we can continue to get lots of great engagement in our Mixlr chat room, not only for this show, but for all the other shows that we do. So, for instance, shows that I'm particularly proud of because of the great work that Danny Shimon and Ryan Badgley are doing is our Draft on Tap show. These guys are really hitting it out of the park. And Phil, to your point, they've already Danny's already shared his preseason rankings of the top 10 offensive linemen. So you can, anybody interested in listening to that, just go over to where our podcasts are listed, and it's the second episode. The first one, he did his top 10 preseason rankings of quarterbacks, which some people are already saying maybe we should start thinking about drafting a quarterback. So go listen to that show. And then Offensive Lineman was the second show. They've just done a great job. And Phil, I can't wait to get you on Draft on Tap so that you and Danny can knock heads and talk about prospects and so forth. So we've got to schedule that in the near future. I know Shane is going to be on, and Matt Carsonson's going to be on, and a number of other people who work for Bears Barroom. But we've had some outstanding guests on that show. And so it's live here on Mixlr. So if you want to interact and talk about NFL draft prospects for the 2020 draft, just join us on Thursday, 8 p.m. Central for that particular show. Buffon 55 is going to be live on Tuesday. On Tuesday, we've got a great effing lineup here on Mixlr.com. Starts with 7 p.m. with Buffon 55. The purpose of that show is to get us ready for the upcoming opponent. We will have somebody who is very, very familiar with the Raiders and will share with us what's working with that team, what isn't working, and then John, with his inimitable style of his passionate style of sharing his opinion on the Bears, does his thing at the beginning and end of each show. And Alyssa Barbieri is the moderator and keeps things going and is on the chat room fielding your questions and sharing them with either our guests or with John. Then that's followed by Fantasy Football Goon. So if you're a fantasy football player, you got to tune into that show because Joey Two Scoops beat Adam Rank in week 1 of his fantasy football duel. So that guy definitely knows what he's doing if he beat Adam Rank, right? So tune into that show. And then that the Tuesday night lineup is finished with the Shy Fans in the Stands, which has become a hugely popular show here. Our man Greg Braggs, who unfortunately we couldn't get a hold of today for this show, but he enjoyed Two Scoops. Usually have a great guest or two on that show and share their opinions, not only about the Chicago Bears, but also Chicago sports teams. I hope that they share some opinions on the Cubs not re-signing Joe Mandel and
Madden.
Joe,
you said Mandel.
I did.
Calling him
Joe Madden.
Joe Mandel.
Yeah. Well, who cares? He's no longer with the Cubs, so I can call him whatever fuck I want. and then the Sox, the hopes for the Sox moving forward in 2020. And then I forgot to mention that on Monday at 1 p.m. Central, it's Vegas Scores and Odds with Mike North. And that particular show, what we do on Mondays is we look at the entire NFL. I select sound bites from almost every head coach or quarterback from the Sunday's games and share them. And Mike shares his thoughts on those football teams and also talks about sports betting. And Mike is red hot with his picks right now. He is a world champion a handicapper, and so you should definitely tune into that one on Monday at 1 p.m. and then again on Wednesday at 3 p.m. So lots of great stuff here
Wednesdays live. Is my favorite show.
That would be Bears 100 that? Proof, right?
Yes. That's what Shane, me, and you, and last week's show was just so much fun.
I listened
but
to
we
it.
always have so much fun on that show, but it's an adult show.
Yes.
So if you're a new listener here, Wednesday, that goes live, and then it becomes a podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to talk about what happened last week, which is today, and what's going to happen in the future. And I got to say one thing. Please. I look forward to meeting up with Aldo and Shane every Wednesday night. I don't care if we have little barfly haters. I don't care if you don't like my song. I don't care if you don't like Shane's opinion. That's what it's for. That's why we are where we are. And Denny Green said it best. They are who we thought they were. We let them off the hook, Aldo. So Wednesday night, join us here if you want to get back. And Aldo's going to do a better job of throwing questions That's what he texted me.
Yes. I'm embarrassed at my performance.
Don't be embarrassed.
I'm totally embarrassed. And if you have not heard Bears 100 Proof, it is the signature show of Bears Barroom. It is highly unique. It's unlike any other podcast that we do here. And in my humble opinion, in any other podcast you will hear about the Chicago Bears. And one of the reasons why, and there are multiple reasons, but one of the reasons why is the original music that's produced by Draft Dr. Phil, and I'll give you a sample of that right now.
Oh, yeah.
We finally have a kicker in Chicago.
Eddie Pinheiro.
That's my favorite part.
The production value on this song, Phil, I mean, I can't overemphasize, you know. You listen to the song over and over and you just pick up cool things that you did in the production, in the mix of this song. It's very, very well done.
Thank you. I have news for you. I have not shared. So those that are staying late.
Yeah, we still got 50 listeners in the chat room.
So listen to this. I'm on Facebook and Barfly reaches out to me. They got a band. And I'm looking at the band. Isaiah Robles puts their band up. So I see it. I'm like, holy shit, let me reach out to this guy. And he's like, yeah, we would love to be the Draft Dr. Phil band. Like, do covers of your songs.
Holy fuck.
And then throw it on. So I go, bro. He's like, please send me 5 songs. And Eddie Pinheiro's song is one of them.
Awesome.
Bear Up, Bear Down, The Tape Never Lies, obviously the 100 Proof. So I'm diving in and giving my boy Mike Mack, shout him out, his band, The Hype, are going to take my songs and do it. I go, he's going to do one original Bears 100 Proof. And then they're going to take it and do their own version of it with the same lyrics and stuff like that.
Now,
So,
this is a Chicago area band?
No, I guess they're from upstate New York.
Oh, okay.
They're from upstate New York somewhere. And big Bears fans. I guess he converted all of the guys in the band to be Bears fans. And he texted me back. He's like, I've talked to the guys. They're all freaking down and ready for this. It's awesome.
I love it.
We love your songs. So I sent them all over there. I'm like, do whatever you want. I'll let Aldo know. I was going to save it for 100 Proof, but you're playing Eddie Pinheiro, and I know green-haired boy in Denver is sad because apparently he has a band, but he hasn't stepped up in the pocket. You know, you just got to go do these things.
That's right.
Take these things and do it. So hopefully, let's see what this, and if you got a band, you want to do it? I'm all about competition. I think it breeds success.
Absolutely. That's
huge. These guys
news.
have taken the baton, Aldo. I'm excited.
Me too. I can't wait to hear what they come up with when they do their own interpretation of one of your songs.
Exactly.
And we have to find out when they are doing that, when they're having a live show, so that we can get somebody to go over there with a camera and do a recording of that, because that is definitely must see, must listen to.
Oh, they're going to send it to us.
Oh, they are?
They
Okay.
said, give me 3 weeks. We're going to practice these songs, and they're going to come up. So
love it.
We'll keep them after the bye. Cars and Marshaw love the bye. Shout out to Mark from Dubai. and we'll see what these guys come up with. But I think I gotta work on a flex Nick Williams, Nick Kwiatkowski song.
Well, I'm gonna send
Maybe
you
Barfly has some ideas.
Yeah,
You have some?
I'm gonna send you a list of the nicknames for him, because I think that might inspire you for some lyrics and stuff like that. So I'll send you that. In terms of an idea of a song that you can kind of parody, let me give that some thought, because you know how much I love to collaborate with you and just throw ideas at you. And
I gotta do it.
And anybody out there in the chat room, if you've got an idea that you want to throw out now, or if you're not ready with your idea now, just send it over to @BearsBarroom, or make sure you're following Phil on his Instagram account. How can people reach you on Instagram and on Facebook if you want to share that?
Yeah,
Phil?
they could follow me on Facebook. A lot of Facebook. I've just been accepting everybody on Facebook. Have been following and interacting there and DMing me. You don't bother me at all. I appreciate the kind words and ideas. I know Shane has gotten some ideas from people, and I apologize. I've been so busy with The Tape Never Lies. I think some of these fucking people are very spoiled over there, Aldo. They get The Tape Never Lies, they get an Eddie Pinheiro song in the same week, and then they criticize. What the hell? What am I doing? I'm fucking working my... You have any idea how hard that is to do that? No. So I'm telling you now, it is hard. So your ideas aren't unwarranted. I gotta catch up, and I think, no pun intended, the bye week I'll be able to catch up with some new original music and stuff. But I love the Barflies. I love the people that really recognize and appreciate. In fact, I was listening to one of my songs real quick, the Tape Never Lies song. And someone's like, why is he putting a parody song into... That's my song that I wrote to just introduce. I just wrote the whole song to use a piece to introduce the series. And I'm proud of that. So I went back and I listened to the song. I'm like, fuck, I didn't even mix it right. So I went back and mixed it, and now it's like, that's one of my favorite songs. So I gotta, don't play it. I remixed it, and I'm gonna send it to you, the remixed version, because I heard I didn't mix. I had my vocal up high, because to Tooch's point, shout out to Tooch, he wrote me such a nice DM text about my music and what I do at The Tape Never Lies, with The Tape Never Lies. But it meant a lot that people love the music and understand how much fun we have on 100 Proof with all the music, despite Shane. I even gave Shane a short song last week.
I noticed that you did that.
Fit that in there.
And there's nobody more grateful than Shane that you did that. All right. Before we go, we've got some news here that we need to share with you.
Oh, we got breaking news.
Bears Barroom breaking news. And this is courtesy of Raphael Tucker, who came on our chat room and says, per Twitter, Roquan may have had a DUI and wrecked his car, similar to what Lance Briggs did. Shit. Man, I hope that's false, is what Raphael says. And there are photos of the wrecked car, Raphael continues, circulating as we speak, with multiple sources retweeting and speculating. And I have gotten, I quickly went to Twitter, and there's a guy named Terrence Tomlin, @TomlinDoesIt, who 21 minutes ago posted, actually this was originally from somebody named Chicago Ali, like Muhammad Ali. And this guy tweeted a picture of a really hot looking sports car, and it says, when you drunkenly drive a $300,000 car into a parked car below my balcony. And Terrence Tomlin has retweeted that, saying, I'm hearing that the car in the pic on the tweet below belongs to Roquan Smith. If that's the case, I'm sure we'll be hearing more about it tomorrow. Gosh. So that is huge news. You know, this.
And to my point, Aldo, that's not personal.
No.
That's selfish.
Well,
that's disgusting.
Well,
I'm sorry.
But here's the thing.
Go ahead.
We don't know for sure right now if this is really Roquan's car. And we don't know for sure what all the details, whether he was intoxicated, whether he did leave the scene of the crime.
I hope he didn't leave the scene.
And so there's some legal implications here, which I can understand why the Bears aren't forthcoming yet. But tomorrow at the Monday press conference, the Bears media is definitely going to drill Matt Nagy on this, and so Matt Nagy better have the right responses to this. And I'm not even quite sure what those responses are. I'd have to study the situation as a communication specialist. I'd have to give some thought as to how those should be answered. But nonetheless, if this is accurate, that Roquan Smith was out drinking the night before of a big game and crashed his sports car, a $300,000 car, into a parked car, then that is some serious business and tarnishes the image of Roquan Smith being this exemplary character. So let's hope it's not true, but thank you to Raphael Tucker for making that available to us. Your thoughts on that, Phil?
Yeah, I mean, I know you're calming me down, which you're right. We don't know, but if they do know, like, if anybody knows, it's the Bears. Coach knows. I mean, you get that call at 3 a.m. Hey, Roquan fucking got into an act. He left the scene. Or hopefully he didn't, or he's injured in the act. We don't know. He could be injured. So to say personal reasons, again, that broad stroke. Listen, we had an issue with Roquan. He was involved in an accident. We're going to be forthcoming here. And he is not going to be able to play. And you could have said that at the end of the game. If that's me. I just think the fans deserve that because they're paying to go there. And just like me, like the freaking Bobby Massey, you're telling he had vertigo 2 hours before the game. Right. Here it is again. You're starting middle linebacker who's been tremendous on tape is not playing. And you throw me into a whirlwind because I'm like, oh, my God. But irregardless, you're 100% right. Tomorrow's presser, I know my boy Adam Hogue will at least ask the question appropriately.
Yes. Oh, yes. There's a bunch of reporters that do the Bears beat who will ask the tough questions. And Adam,
I got a picture from the Sandman.
Of the accident?
And it's of the accident in question. Right. And it's a white, it looks like a convertible Lamborghini.
That's what I thought. Yeah, I saw the picture. That's what I thought, but I wasn't quite sure, so I didn't want to say Lamborghini, but that does appear to be a Lamborghini.
So the whole right side is smashed. Mm-hmm. There's no one in the car, obviously, but it's hit a parked car and like folded 3/4 of the right side back in half. I mean, the car's totaled, according to the insurance, a $300,000.
Let me tell you something. And
it looks bad.
Yeah, it does.
Look at it.
Does look
Maybe
bad.
It's a Tesla, a Ferrari. It's a Ferrari.
Oh, okay. All right. So that makes sense. Let me tell you something. That could be the result of a guy getting. And again, we warned you. This show is adult themed. That could be the result of a guy getting a blowjob as he's driving.
I knew you were going to go there. If that's the case, he's fine.
Then he's fine. I will forgive him.
We've all been there before.
That's right. He may have had his dick bitten off, too.
Oh, my God.
That would be much more concerning than missing the game, having your dick bitten off while you're getting a blowjob. Back to Alex Scott says that he can't wait for your new songs.
We're going to have to write a song about this.
Yeah, really. John Tyke says he's kind of thinking that the new song you're working on should be an Eminem song, which is right up your wheelhouse, right? I'd love for you to do
I mean, I did when I came back. I did Guess Who's Back.
Yeah, exactly.
Did that. That was a challenge, but I did it.
Right. Now, going back to this Roquan thing, we need to emphasize this is just speculation right now. That's Roquan's car. As Raphael Tucker again puts up in the chat room that he thought that Roquan drove a BMW. I don't know, guys. He never had stories like this coming out of college. Yeah, I'm rooting for
that's the thing, Raphael.
Yeah,
great job. Raphael's a great dude too.
Yeah,
he's a big time barfly.
Of course,
big dude.
Everybody,
but
the 67 people that are still in the bar room right now are all officially anointed as great barflies. Thank you all for sticking around.
I appreciate it. I'm shocked here.
Well, and this is because of you, Phil. I'm you know me, I don't fucking blow smoke up your ass. But the popularity of this show, this has quickly become one of the most popular shows on Bears Barroom. If you look at the numbers, and I can send them to you, Phil, this one and Bears 100 Proof are the two most popular shows. What do those two shows have in common?
Mike Norris will say that I'm sending all these phony listeners there. But I can assure you, Mike, I do no such thing. I've owned my fucking stupidity, but I keep it 100 all the time. Like, I'm just going to continue to do it. I honestly love people and I love football. So this is made for me. You know, I love doing this. I don't care. I praise everybody that does a really good job, and I'll tell people, unfortunately, when you're not. Mm-hmm. And if you can't handle that, you know, then I don't know. But I love this network, and I totally love you, Aldo.
And I love you too.
The people have Facebook, the people on Instagram. You could find me, Philatoshin, on Facebook. I'm accepting you all. I used to not mix it, but now I'm like, I don't want to do Twitter. I think it's the most disgusting, ugly thing I've seen.
Too much
all the stories you guys share with me, I was addicted to it.
Mm-hmm.
It could be a show of itself, a mental health show, but I'll keep it 100. I was addicted to that, worrying about why am I worrying about Joe Schmo, who's never played a down of football, telling me that Adam Shaheen's better than I think he is. And then I'd be involved with that. And it'd be down that site. Here's my voice. You want to hear me? Mm-hmm. I'm here. You want to see me? I'm on the tape never lies. You can't fucking argue that. It's there. People are still arguing that. I go, I don't miss fucking Twitter. At the 6 minute and 48 second mark, Allen Robinson's wide open. And I go, yeah, I've explained that. How about this? I put a pop-up because I couldn't speak through, and I'm like, look at the block here by David Montgomery. Takes out 2 people. 12 people are like, look, did you see the block by David Montgomery? You didn't say. I go, yeah, I popped it up there for you because I know it was tremendous. I'm not taking any shots. I love people, but I don't love Twitter. Give Shane, Tooch, Greg, Aldo, all of you guys, Chris Sandlin, Barflies around the world, Sandy, anybody, Berlissimo texted me, Dan Aguirre texted me what's going on Twitter. I don't miss it. I love the instantaneous news and sports, so if I ever do go back, I'm just going to unfollow everybody and follow just Adam Schefter, who actually breaks news and shit like that. But other than that,
I think you should definitely consider that, Phil. Let me tell you a couple of things that people are saying. Like Harp 4803 says, I love Phil because he always keeps it 100, but he does miss you on Twitter. To be honest, this is the only social media that he uses, but he understands where you're coming from totally on that. And we have talked about maybe opening up a Bears 100 Proof Twitter account, and maybe that's your Twitter account, and you operate it, and we let people know.
Yeah, that might be the only way, because I just don't want to deal with the
drama.
People. You fill in the blank, the drama.
Yeah, fuck that.
Fuck you. Fuck you. I had phony accounts fucking 2 years ago when everybody was fucking doing it. I've accepted it. It was stupid, but it doesn't take away my voice, the fucking songs and everything we've built here.
Exactly.
I took a break from Twitter for my family.
There you go.
And there you go. That's where I am. I'll come out with a new song about the tremendous support of barflies around the world, because Aaron Lemming said this to me, Aldo. I'll quote him. me and him butted heads, and we had a very enlightening conversation. He's like, bro, you got fucking people proud to be called a barfly. If that's not showcasing what you're doing right over there, then I don't fucking know how else. He's like, despite everything you do, tremendous. Like, if you're proud to be associated with barroom and you call yourself, you're my boy. Like, I met people in Six Flags New England that are proud to be like that. My wife even said that's the fucking coolest thing. And it's not just me, because I know I appreciate what you're saying. And, you know, I'm a fucking confident guy. I could come off as arrogant, and I don't give a fuck. Because I know at the end of the day what I put into it, how much I enjoy it. But I know I'm surrounded, and I love Shane. I love him. I love Aldo. And I love the people in the bar room. The people that bring it. Greg Braggs and Tooch and Joey Two Scoops. I refuse to call him Goon. Like, change your fucking name.
Yeah, that's got to go. I know he spent a lot of money on tchotchkes and little footballs.
You're Joey Two Scoops.
Yeah, you're Joey Two Scoops. You know, let's do a rebranding.
Let's have a fucking party with Joey Two Scoops.
Yes. In fact, you know, I'm going to be at his wedding. Phil, I hope you're going to be there too. And we're going to officially not only get him married that day, but we're going to officially crown him as Joey Two Scoops, and that the Goon is officially dead. I'm going to bring like a little mini casket, and inside it is going to be the fantasy football Goon guy.
Just all the memorabilia.
All of that shit. And then I'm going to light it on fire, and then I'm going to toast.
You're Joey Two Scoops.
By the way, I think half of the people who are known as barflies were known as barflies even before there were barroom barflies, because they're heavy drinkers just like me. So.
Hey, there's nothing with that.
Absolutely. There's nothing wrong with that, like Mr. Seinfeld would say. All right, I'm going to pull the plug on this because I need to take a piss, number one. And number two, it's getting late. You've got a lot of work to do, not only family work, your regular work, but you've also got new songs to do. The Tape Never Lies to do.
Tape Never Lies. I coach a flag team. Right. I have a wife giving me the eyeball sometimes.
She's probably giving you the eyeball now.
She was tonight, only because she's not feeling well. Aww. So I was like, sweetie, the game's on. I got to do the show. What do you want me to do? Well, I'm sick. I'm putting the boys to bed. So I hope she's not listening now.
No.
So I have to do the schmooze fest. I got to think of something nice to do tomorrow to give her proper, not flowers.
No.
It's got to be something.
No.
So maybe you can DM me on Facebook or wherever.
I'll tell you right now, edible panties. just kidding.
That will go a long way in this house. Oh.
Steph, I'm just kidding. All right, remember, if you drink, please do not drive, and always bear down. But I'm not going to have the final word. The final word goes to the star of the show, Draft Dr. Phil. Let them know what you want to let them know.
Listen, this team is special. They're going across the pond. You gotta come away continuing to be what you are right now. Your identity is your defense. Everybody that's worth a penny of football knowledge knows that right now. Wow. Tomorrow at work, everybody's gonna tell you, wow, you guys got a great defense. You know it. I know it. Well, it's okay to accept that. In a fantasy football world, always is going to end with the best defense going to the championship. And that's okay. Find your identity there. Find the running game. Let's hope the news on Mitch Trubisky isn't bad. And hopefully the situation with Roquan comes to fruition and they're very transparent and professional like they were with the 1936 uniform. And handle it like that and make us proud as Bears fans. Don't placate us with bullshit. Please go out there, acknowledge this was inappropriate, this was wrong, he shouldn't have been. Don't hide this, try to bury it. Just be truthful, and I think Bears fans will respect that, and Roquan will get a pass. As soon as he makes a play on the football field, it'll be done with.
Just when I tried to pull the plug on the show, Oil Pan Willie. Somebody else makes a great comment in the chat room. Now, this time it's Oil Pan Willie. He speculates Mike Davis was also out for personal reasons. I wonder if he was in the car with Roquan. I don't think Mike Davis was giving him a blowjob, but they could have been out partying. Oh my God!
Wrong with that?
So much to talk about, and we are, maybe
we
we
won't
need
be here all week.
Maybe we need to do an earlier Bears 100 proof. I don't know, because there seems to be a lot to talk about. But we'll talk about that off the air. I'm going to let you go, Phil, because you've got to go take care of your sick wife, and I got to go take a leak. And I want to, again, tell everybody thank you for listening, and let your friends and family know about what's happening here at Bears Bar Room. All right, everybody.